Palmer said, look, this is a game, but it also isn't going to deter us from our routine. This is routine. Tom, Ghostbusters costumes, week 2. What do you think?
Hey, you got to love it, especially after you lose your first game of the season at home. Bruce Arians, what a marvelous job he has done. And this is 4th season, 10 or more wins in each of the first 3. A trip to the NFC Championship game a year ago, and the one-time head coach just down the road in Tempe at Arizona State is 57-year-old Dirk Cutter. And a big opening game win last Sunday on the road in Atlanta for these Buccaneers. Tampa Bay won the toss, chose to defer. To get the football in the second half, Andre Ellington waits on the Aguayo kick, and we're underway. And taking a knee, and that means this year it comes out to the 25-yard line. And here comes the aforementioned Carson Palmer, 36 years young, Southern California native. A chance to pass Joe Montana on the career passing yards list for 16th in the NFL, better than 40,000. And for Palmer, over 4,600 came of those a season ago when he shattered every Cardinal franchise passing record. Fitzgerald in motion, they put the ball in his hands. Real nice closing speed defensively by who else? Quan Alexander. Hargraves was in coverage. And it looks like Arizona is in hurry-up mode right from the get-go.
The reason for that, Tom, is last week they only ran 59 plays. They have a goal of hitting 79 plays. That's when they feel that they operate at their highest efficiency.
Second down and 6. Is that a catch? If it is a beauty. And a reception it is to Michael Floyd.
And what a difference a year makes for Michael Floyd. You remember when we began last season, he had injured fingers in training camp.
Yep.
And he wasn't right for a long time, only caught 8 passes in the first 5 games. He's healthy now, and he used his strong hands on that catch.
He was their main man after that sluggish start. They put it in the hands of David Johnson, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Tampa Bay defensively very, very young. They have some veterans. The very heart and soul of their defense is up front. Keep an eye on 93 all day. Gerald McCoy, Quan Alexander, 17 tackles, a career high last week. And the first-year defensive coordinator, 7 seasons a head coach, and a good one in Atlanta is Mike Smith. Tomb-like quiet when the Cardinals are on offense, and Cardinals on second down incomplete. Alteron Werner in coverage on Fitzgerald.
Well, this is based off a timing route right here, and you look at Werner, his outstanding position, does not panic, and the thing is Fitzgerald does not push him up the field enough, so he doesn't have room to come back to get to the football, because Werner had a great break on that ball, and good discipline, Charles, not to interfere.
An early 3rd down for Arizona on offense, and it's lofted into the air, and again it's broken up, and again it is Werner in coverage, this time on Michael Floyd. So the Buccaneers get a stop on the opening Arizona possession.
So Chris, back to your point, pushing him downfield so he feels like there's a threat. Again, he didn't feel threatened, did he? No, first it was Larry Fitzgerald, then Michael Floyd, and when there was no threat, he never got out his back pedal.
The thing with those DBs, you got to get their shoulders turned, and that DB stands in his back pedal. There's no threat. He can get a great break on the football.
Butler rolled over his foot and ankle last week, but still had an outstanding game in a loss to New England. This is Humphreys, evades one tackler and then dropped pretty much where he started at the 17.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
22-year-old Alabama native Jameis Winston. 4 touchdown passes in week 1 to 4 different receivers, and was the NFC's offensive player of the month. How about that? Fakes one way, comes back the other, bouncing off a tackle is the veteran, or the youngster Mike Evans. Saw it momentarily, that was Jackson. But that's up to the 30, Well, we'll call it the 25-yard line.
So Honey Badger has a great break on the football here. But let me tell you, if you want to increase your odds for a turnover, you come in and wrap up and get on that football. That's what he does, is make plays. Make a better play by stripping that ball when you make the hit.
Second down and 2. And just find a little seam in there is Doug Martin, and he has a first down up to the 28-yard line. Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator for this bunch a season ago, Winston's rookie year. Dynamic running back duo of Martin and Sims. Evans and Jackson will keep an eye on them as well throughout the day, especially Jackson. And as Chris and Charles talked about a moment ago, he's going to be working on the rookie Brandon Williams. Big running room from Martin, and he spun down up to the 40, a gain of 12 and a first down.
And we're going to talk about Jameis Winston a lot, but we really have to talk about Doug Martin, because as a runner, he's going to set the tone for everything. And look at his offensive line, getting some work done. Had a pull from the guard, wrapped around, and created a nice crease that got Martin to the third level, or the secondary, in a hurry.
Frosty Rucker is out.
Martin off to the right side, a little delay, and that's a significant gain. A gain of 4, tackled by Tyvon Branch. Arizona had a hard time getting off the field last week. Perhaps the biggest difference in the game, New England 10 of 16 on third down. Boy, how about that read by Winston? They came back the other way, the same as the first play in the game. Saw the defender, got rid of it, first down to Adam Humphries.
Notice how they're getting him on the move in a hurry, Chris. Talk about Jameis Winston. They're going to make sure things aren't going to be static for him, because he has the ability to move around. He's not a great runner per se, but excellent timing, sense of pocket, and able to break, and got rid of the football well on that one.
They're playing a little bit of soft coverage right here. You see Patrick Peterson up here. So anytime you run bootlegs and things like that, that's tough for a corner to do, because he's covering any deep route.
Great protection. Looking for Evans down the middle of the field, and it is intercepted. Peterson trying to bring it out of the end zone. And here he comes, pointing to the crowd while he's running. And he'll step out of bounds to the 24.
Chris, it appeared they took a play almost out of Bruce Arians' playbook. Take the big shot, right? But Patrick Peterson ran the route with Mike Evans and ended up being the receiver, not the defensive back. Look at him at the end of it. He became the guy and got the interception.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's.
First turnover in the early going. Tampa Bay picked up a couple of first downs, but then tried the home run ball to Evans. And Peterson picks it off. First down, Cardinals at the 25-yard line. Under heavy pressure, Palmer, and he just throws it out of bounds. Let's go back to the interception.
Now, Chris, you were talking about the off coverage of the corners. Look at Peterson. Look at Brandon Williams. Look at that distance between them and the receiver.
That's a defended deep ball, especially on 1st and 10. And at the midfield point, that's a good time to take a shot. And what I love here is Patrick Peterson makes a play on a ball. And it looked like Evans, he might have slowed down. He didn't fight for it. There was no fight for that football.
What he needed to do was stay with the same speed and use that frame of his to body off Peterson and keep him away from the ball.
Hands it off to David Johnson. Tries to break it to the outside. A stiff arm. And a strong carry by a strong ball carrier. Johnson a gain of 10, and that's the first down. Peterson said before the game he'd be getting it done.
Watch me be great. I'm sorry. Watch me be legendary. Because a lot of great ones, few legendary, baby.
It's interesting, the last time these two teams played, the only time Peterson's ever played against Tampa Bay, he had 2 interceptions in the last 4 minutes of a game. And here, a couple of minutes into this one, has a 3rd interception against the Bucs. Pump fake, looking for Floyd down the sideline, overthrown.
Just to go on that, Tom, and that's good against good. You got just back to Peterson for 1 second. That's good against good, and right there, the Cardinals good beat the best of Tampa Bay. So we talked about in the pregame. So what do you do now if you're Tampa Bay? You go after the rookie Brandon Williams with Vincent Jackson. Coming out next series, when they throw the ball, don't be surprised when they start attacking number 26.
Well, you need to check his confidence because he gave up some big plays against New England. You want to find out if he's going to be able to bounce back if you're Tampa Bay. Go ahead and go after him and see what happens.
2nd down and 10. This is David Johnson. Cuts it back to the inside. And he's tripped up short of a first down. A gain of 8. Tripped up by Conti.
And guys, last game, the Cardinals didn't run the ball the way they wanted to. You know, they didn't get enough. Chris, you said at the top, only had 59 total plays. They didn't run it as well as they wanted to. I think that Bruce Arians is going to press the run a little bit more in this game than they did against New England.
And 31 needs 25 carries. He's that good because he can go the distance anytime.
Well, 3rd down and 2. They're going to throw it. Palmer across the middle, and it's dropped. That's Daniel Fells. It's Aaron Fells, the backup tight end to Jermaine Gresham. Of course, his brother is Daniel Fells.
Chris, watch Fells come out of his stance here. Right? He's going to come and run the route down the middle. But watch late. It almost appeared that he wasn't ready when the ball got there. You see that?
Yeah, hands were late. And you know that Carson Palmer makes a living on anticipatory throws.
And a nice job by McDougal at the end, wasn't it? Knocking it out.
Instead of the kill shot, go for the hands.
Well, here Tampa Bay's defense. 2 possessions for Arizona, and the Cardinals have not crossed midfield. Oh, what a hit by Bethel. 3-time Pro Bowl special teams captain. And he delivered the hit on Humphries, who staggers to the sideline.
Today's game is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Pizza Hut. Bring home the flavor only at Pizza Hut. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
2nd possession for the Buccaneers. This one begins inside their 10. Goes down from the 7. Martin looks for running room, and this time not much there. He had 3 carries for 19 yards on the first possession, so they were able to run it a little bit. And you wonder if Bruce Arians is somewhat upset right from the get-go with his defensive line. He has all backups in there right now, including no Calais Campbell.
They do believe that they have depth at that position. Frosty Rucker not playing today, normally a starter, so they like to roll people in. They call it to bring them in waves. That might be just an early rest for starting guys.
See Xavier Williams, a nose tackle, and back up to Corey Peters. 2nd down out of the eye. Play fake. Good throw, a good catch, and that's a first down. And that 7's up to the 21.
Chris, we were talking earlier before the game even began. You talked about Winston and anticipatory throws. Watch Evans get in here and watch where this throw goes. Over the top of Tyrann Mathieu and in front of Patrick Peterson.
Well, that's the read. He's reading Tyrann Mathieu right there. If he's short, he's going to throw deep. Now they had an outlet. If Mathieu was underneath Evans, which could be an adjustment, then he dumps it off. Jameis has improved his ability to hit the check down.
Again, the offensive line will try and push him forward for an extra yard or 2. It's a 3-yard pickup. Winston, 22 years old. He grew up in Alabama. They've been talking about this kid since he was a teenager. In fact, that's the first time Bruce Arians met him at a football camp. As a redshirt freshman, led Florida State to a BCS national championship. 2 years later, the #1 pick of the draft, the starter right from the get-go. His first NFL pass was intercepted in return for a touchdown. After that, he was among the top young quarterbacks in the NFL. Great protection, and the throw is too high. He had Jackson at midfield.
There it is, Tom and Charles, right there. We talked about it coming next series, man. We didn't beat Peterson. We're going Vincent Jackson on the rookie, Brandon Williams. And I'll tell you, Brandon here got a little bit lucky. Vincent Jackson had his shoulders turned on a speed cut, and the ball was delivered high by Jameis Winston. Put up in the press box, come back to that because it's there.
Williams, a rookie, burned for a touchdown against New England last week. On a 3rd down and 7, here comes the blitz. Winston gets it away, and it is right on the money. from Humphreys. He was a punt returner who took that big shot a moment ago from Bethel.
How about the protection here against the pressure? And Jameis Winston able to see it. Right there, right? Tony Jefferson. But look at that. Humphreys working in front of Tyvon Branch and able to deliver. Last week against Atlanta, Jameis Winston against pressure was excellent. 8 of 12 for 97 yards. He hung in there again against pressure, delivered again.
Last year was only 50% against 5 or 6 man pressures. An improvement in his game this year from last year.
Hey, he's a very impressive kid. Martin wrapped up, dropped for a 2-yard loss. Marcus Golden, the first one there to meet him. Golden, an emerging star for this Cardinal defense. He had a sack, a forced fumble, which led to a touchdown against New England last Sunday night.
So hey, if you're a 3-4 defense, you're 2 outside backers, they got to be dogs. And pass rusher first and evil dogs on the run. So they have 2 evil dogs.
So dog normal and evil dog.
Evil dogs on top rush. Dog on pass rush.
Loss of 2. Sims checks into the backfield for the first time. Excellent protection again, although batted down. And a second 3rd down on this drive upcoming.
Take a look at what Jameis Winston's got in front of him now. His big guys, because Chris, we've talked about this pressure expected from the Cardinals, because that's what they do. Excellent protection, able to step up and deliver. Ball gets batted away.
That's nice that Campbell has the wherewithal. If you're not getting there, throw a hand in there, especially when you're his size, for the rejection.
Well, you're not lying. 6'8", that's a power forward. Cardinals coming after Winston. Steps up. Throws behind Jackson, who was looking for a penalty flag. And none thrown. Again, trying to work on Brandon Williams, so a second punt for the Buccaneers.
You remember last year, the Cardinals had 33 takeaways. They called it the no-fly zone with their DBs. I call it the flock, because you've got these hybrid guys like Jefferson who can cover like a play the run like a linebacker and cover in the secondary like a safety.
And Brandon Williams there.
Brandon Williams doing the same thing, answered the challenge and stepped up. But you got a bunch of guys out there who are ball hawks and are eager for the challenge in this game.
Punt from the 20, high and short. John Brown from the 25. Look out if he turns that corner, and he tries to, but is run out of bounds at the 32. No score from the desert. Small screen, stadium size content. Watch live local Sunday games right on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Charles Davis, Chris Spielman, Peter Schrager and company, Tom Brenneman. Delighted you're with us on this Sunday afternoon, week 2 of the NFL season. And if there is such a thing as a critical second game of the year, that would certainly be the story for these Arizona Cardinals. Starting a season 0-2, your chances of reaching the playoffs historically are at 12%.
And I think Peter Schrager told us in pregame that if you go 0-2 at home, no team has ever even reached, never reached a Super Bowl.
And that's his mindset of this team.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's either this year or back to rebuilding. Just kidding, but that's the mindset you have to have.
Well, when you have a 36-year-old quarterback, I mean, the rest of your team can be very young, but Palmer is still among the game's very best. And they have young players like Johnson. You know, Fitzgerald's getting long in the tooth, but they have some other very, very good receivers in this high-octane offense.
And you did mention David Johnson, Tom, and look at the numbers there for 5 of his 6 career starts. But I think they've got to press the running game with him and then isolate him in space, throwing it to him as well. Remember, he was a wide receiver at Northern Iowa before he became a running back. But that'll be a key matchup because of the speed of the linebackers that Tampa Bay possesses.
They're going zone right now.
Third down. And the flip, how in the world did Palmer get it away? And he finds Andre Ellington for a first down, and Palmer took a shot.
This is an easy pre-snap read for Carson Palmer. I want to tell you why. When you see a corner go out with a running back, David Johnson. Carson Palmer does a good job of flicking it to Ellington as outlet. But that gave Carson Palmer a pre-snap read because the corner went with a running back. If it was man coverage, the corner would have stayed with the wide receiver. Pre-snap read execution by Carson Palmer and Ellington on the check down.
So their first third down conversion out of their first 3 attempts. And Johnson wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage this time by William Golston, 4th-year, 2nd-year starter out of Michigan State.
Both of these teams have lost a starting defensive lineman. Frosty Rucker not playing today for Arizona, but a Jacques Smith who got hurt for Tampa Bay against Atlanta. So they've got to have guys step up and make plays as Golston did there. But already early in this game, number 93, Gerald McCoy, he's making his presence felt as a guy penetrating into the deep offensive backfield of the Arizona Cardinals.
2.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Defense dominated game thus far and lofted to Fitzgerald. And that's a first down all the way to the Tampa Bay 27-yard line. Beautifully thrown ball.
And you're going to see at the end of this route, the adage is if you're a DB, if you're going for the ball, go get it. And you better get it, otherwise turn to a big play. Look at that protection there, Chris.
Well, if it's a zone pressure, you have to get there because that's too much time for Fitzgerald to work downfield.
Well, they hurry up, snap the football, and Johnson is met head on.
So it was a zone pressure. So you can't ask your DBs to cover in a zone pressure and allow Carson Palmer to allow Fitzgerald to come from one side of the field all the way to the opposite sideline because there's too much time and too much work for Fitzgerald to do.
But look at what they did, how they moved him inside and ran him through traffic. They ran him through some trash, hoping to get the defensive back picked off. It didn't happen, but it created space for Larry Fitzgerald to run his route.
Gain of yards, 2nd and 9. Good protection again. And some contact over there on the far side with Werner and Floyd, but no flag. It brings up a 3rd down and 9.
So David Johnson's getting a little tired right now because watch him. He's not going to push his route. He's going to walk his route. See that? That's not a threat. When you jog off the line of scrimmage like that, Tom, that's not a threat. So you might want to think about bringing a little sub in because when I see an effort like that, he's either tired. Because I know he's not a coward, but I know he's tired.
He's in there on this 3rd down and 9. 8th play of this drive. Palmer gets rid of it. And when he's got to make a connection, why not dial up number 11?
So earlier in the game, you're talking about the push. Do you push the defensive back, get his shoulders turned, and make him go boom? Well, in that case, he just did it on a speed out. Just put a foot in the ground, got to the outside, and Grimes unable to make the move as fast as he needed to. That gave him the connection for the pass.
And the beauty of that, the ball's in the air before his head's even turned around. That's veteran, trust.
Whole lot of time spent together working on those routes.
Number 11, a gain of 11. And from the 15, first down, Arizona. David Johnson, not much running room. This Tampa Bay defense is smothering him early on, and again it's Quan Alexander.
Well, the Cardinals have half their team lined up to the left side. So what's Tampa do? They make an adjustment, and each guy moves a man over. They know they're running that way. There's no place to run and not enough people. So Quan Alexander came through that line, Tom and Charles, unblocked. I could still make a tackle on block. Just one, though, then I'd be carted off. But just one.
But you'd make the play.
Yeah.
There's no doubt you'd make the play. As my coach has always told me, an unblocked player better make a play.
9 seconds remain in the quarter. Knockout. Palmer does get rid of it in time to Fells. He spins out of a tackle and down to the 7-yard line, maybe the 8. Short of a first down. Took a big hit from Levante David. 1 quarter in the books in Arizona. Scoreless, the Cards knocking on the door. Some of the numbers from the opening quarter. This Arizona drive started from its own 33. This is play number 11, but it's an important play. A 3rd down from the 8-yard line. We'll call it 3rd and 3. They need to get to the 5.
There's David Johnson right here. Could be a key pass guy right here.
Now naturally, lineman will point to the other side.
We're going to get Tampa Bay on this one.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 93.
Veteran
Half
call.
the distance to the goal. Results in a first down.
Guys, one of my favorite authors in the world, Robert Ludlum, used to write in his books that for Jason Bourne, right?
Yep.
That rest is a weapon. Use it wisely. For a veteran quarterback, your cadence is a weapon. And Carson Palmer used it really well there.
Boy, Charles dropping Robert Ludlum on us here from Arizona. Very impressive.
God rest his soul. He's
Yes,
a great
indeed.
author.
Keeps writing books somehow, though. Palmer fires into the end zone, and a flag is down. It is ruled a touchdown. No one has given the official signal yet. But I think this is going against Tampa Bay. And it will be for Fitzgerald, the 101st career touchdown.
It looked like holding in the secondary, didn't it?
Yeah, and size matters against
Pass
receiver
interference.
and defensive back.
Defense. Number 24.
Strength.
That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Larry Fitzgerald's not a great speed demon, but he might be one of the strongest receivers ever to play the game. You have guys hanging on you and able to go get that football, and his big body against Grimes is too much for him to cover. He just uses a basketball player, good box out, and the strength delivered by Palmer.
Well, last week, of course, Fitzgerald reaching 100 touchdown receptions in his future Hall of Fame career, one of only 10 players ever to reach that number. And he's one of only 7 players in NFL history with over 1,000 receptions and 100 touchdowns.
6'3", over 5'10". I know they call Grimes bounce for his jumping ability, but there was no jump involved in that play. That was just a strength play, as you described.
And the point after is good. Fitzgerald, big on that drive. Capped off with a touchdown, 7-0, Big Red. Now, among active players, total touchdowns, Adrian Peterson, one more than Fitzgerald. Another future Hall of Famer, Antonio Gates, up over 100. It's interesting, each of those players has spent his entire career with only one team.
In this day and age, that is significant.
All right, second quarter just underway, and waiting back Cecil Shorts. They just signed him last week. And let's go back to the touchdown. And Chris Spielman, you picked up something right here that should have been called.
That's ridiculous. I expect people to block, watch this, to get picks for wide receivers and shoot the other wide receivers. Offensive tackles can't pick off coverage in the end zone. So as an NFL official, you could not miss that call. I mean, these games are too close, and that's not like a judgment call.
Right.
Offensive tackles can't throw picks for wide receivers 5 yards downfield on a pass.
And even if you take it to the college game, where you get that 3-yard grace period on screens, that's a penalty even in the college game. So he's downfield illegally.
That's a miss.
DJ Humphries, a #1 pick last year, the only healthy first-round pick in the entire draft to be inactive every game. Cardinals were very down on him a year ago. Tony Jefferson coming up to put the hit on Martin on first down.
I thought Tony Jefferson played well against New England. One of the few guys who tackled well in the secondary, active all over the place. When he was at Oklahoma, he was a hybrid guy, linebacker, safety, dependent on down and distance. He does similar things here in Arizona. Dayon Buchanan, #20, safety in college, now almost a pure linebacker, but still has coverage skills. That's why they're able to stay with their defenses and keep the same guys on the field, because they can adjust to whatever.
There's their man pressure package.
And here they come after Winston. And it's intercepted. And still tiptoeing along the sideline is inside the 20 is Marcus Cooper. Second interception thrown by Jameis Winston.
So if you can't create separation off the tough press coverage, you're in trouble. Watch these guys as they release downfield. There's no separation created, even on Cooper, who's one-on-one on Jackson. And this is a bad throw because Cooper beat Jackson to the route. So what does Jameis have to do, guys? He's got to back shoulder that and stop Vincent Jackson to make him adjust to the football. It's called throwing a man open.
And Cooper was able to see it all the way because he never got pressed and had to turn. So you see James Betcher, the defense coordinator, he loved it. But he saw it the whole way. Jackson didn't see it until the ball had gone past him into Cooper's arms.
Chris Johnson checks into the backfield for the first time. They put it in his hands. They remember Johnson was actually the leading ball carrier for the Cardinals a season ago at over 800 yards, 4 100-yard games. And then he injured his knee in week 12, went on the IR, and that's when David Johnson took over, and he's not looking back.
And he was a beneficiary of Larry Fitzgerald. Why he's a Hall of Famer? Not only the great catches, he's down there clearing the path and staying with his block, not just trying to get it done, trying to finish a man. That's why Larry Fitzgerald is an all-time great and a Hall of Famer.
Need a yard for a first down, and we'll see, depending on the mark. It looked like he got there.
It was tough because Clinton McDonald, number 98, Robert Ayers, number 91. Although they did a nice job of stacking things up.
And gain of 2. First and goal from the 9.
Big stand here for Tampa Bay. They got to think field goal here. Only give up 3 after the sudden change turnover and try and keep themselves feeling really good in the game.
First down, Palmer all day to throw it. And incomplete. Second down upcoming. In the loss to New England, 14 of Arizona's 21 points came after the defense forced a turnover. I think everybody around here, with all the hype and the expectations of a team that reached the NFC Championship game a year ago. New England comes to town. No Tom Brady, no Rob Gronkowski, 2 rookie linemen. You're thinking, okay, you're going to win this one.
But it's New England.
And it didn't work out that way.
You always got to remember it's New England.
Got that right. Little delay. And that did not fool Tampa Bay on defense, although able to fight for yardage is Johnson. Wow, a lot of missed chances, a lot of swinging and missing going on behind the line of scrimmage, starting with Gerald McCoy.
Chris Spielman, how did Robert Ayers not finish this play? I don't understand this one at all because he's there, right? And he's going to drive him crazy. He's right there. He slips down. Nice block there by Veldier, number 68 on Levante David. An excellent vision by David Johnson with nice cuts to get more yards than he should have gotten.
Can I give you an answer?
Yeah.
Because there's no back in the league that goes from 0 to 60 faster than David Johnson.
So Robert Ayers off the hook then?
No. That's his job. That's his job.
Third down and goal. Palmer once, twice, incomplete, no flag. So it appears that Tampa Bay defense will force Arizona into a field goal try. Verner's off to a nice start today.
And this is who they wanted. David Johnson on that jerk route, the whip route, whatever you want to call it. Levante David covers it well. Carson Palmer pumped, had to bring it back, and then tried to force a throw into Floyd.
That's because David Johnson stopped his route where he should have kept going to the sidelines. He pulled up, forcing Carson to throw that away.
Of course, the last time the Cardinals tried a field goal, Catanzaro was looking from 47 yards away to win the game last week, but a poor snap ultimately led to the miss, and they're going with a rookie, Cameron Canaday, as their long snapper. The interception leads to 3, 10-0 Arizona.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King, introducing the new Cheetos Chicken Fries, only at Burger King. By Chevrolet, more 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
One of the most beautiful states in all of America, the Grand Canyon state of Arizona. And right smack dab in nearly the middle of this beautiful state is Phoenix. Slightly north to Glendale, where the hometown Cardinals are out to a 10-0 lead with just under 12 minutes to go until halftime, and that one booted through the back of the end zone. And the Buccaneers will get it at the 25. Slow start for Winston, a pair of interceptions. Palmer and the Cards in front, 10-0.
Welcome back to Glendale, Arizona. Injury update here for Tampa Bay. Doug Martin went down. It is a hamstring injury. He is doubtful to return. It was the play before the interception. He's now sitting on the sideline right here.
Well, it's a shame. Martin had bounced back from 2 injury-plagued seasons last year, ran for over 1,400 yards. Also added 33 receptions out of the backfield. Empty backfield on first down. 10-0 Cardinals with 11:44 to play in the second quarter. Winston throws to Martin's replacement, Charles Sims, and that's up to the 27-yard line.
And already today, we've seen Jameis Winston throw 2 interceptions. The first one on a deep ball trying to hit Mike Evans. Patrick Peterson got it. And then here, he ends up again trying to hit Vincent Jackson, and Marcus Cooper got it. But we've seen Jameis Winston in his career throw interceptions, stays the same guy, and keeps playing. You know, I've seen him win games after 4 interceptions during a game. So don't think he's going to be daunted.
That's a nice catch in traffic by the big, strong Mike Evans in his 3rd year out of Texas A&M, and that's a wide body now at 6'5", 230.
Well, here's what they're doing. Two plays, right? 2 pass plays. After a guy throws a couple picks, let's get him back in rhythm. Let's go the 3-step drops and the quick drops and not worry about the long throws to establish that rhythm again. That's excellent play calling and game management by Dirk Cutter.
And they're getting it to guys they depend on. Charles Sims is a great receiver out of the backfield, and they got to Mike Evans, their #1 receiver.
Cameron Brayton, the tight end, in motion, and they dump it off to Sims. That is an excellent tackle by Tony Jefferson. He had a game-high 10 of those last week against New England.
Well, screens are never going to work if you're playing off-man coverage like Tony Jefferson, who knows how to play that linebacker/hybrid. And if it's a quick screen like that, those big offensive linemen do not have time to get downfield to get those big bodies on the little DBs. Look like a Charles Davis play back in Q2 balls.
Well, in that case, he'd still be running.
Look at the man pressure, guys. This is what they make a living off. Here it comes.
And they hand it off. And Sims shot down at the line of scrimmage. Jefferson and Buchanan converge on the stop. Well, check out Damon Wayans and Clayne Crawford on Lethal Weapon. Premieres Wednesday on Fox. 3rd down coming up.
Saw Damon Wayans in our pregame show today. He brought it on air for us and finished with the signature Danny Glover line.
That was nice.
I'm too old for this.
It's hard to believe he's old enough now to be playing that kind of character. They're bringing the house after Winston. He steps up and throws incomplete, and a penalty flag down.
So this is the right call. This is the right call. It's actually pretty good coverage. The problem is he tries to avoid Vincent Jackson, but Cooper cannot. Great coverage, or excuse me, protection.
Pass interference.
On
Defense, number 32. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
Well, I'm not sure if they called something on Matthews somewhere away from the play.
There's nothing to call on him because he was just out in coverage by himself. The play has to be 41 Cooper, doesn't it?
Yeah, he hooked him with the right arm. If he kept the right arm off the hook, he would have been safe.
That's a 15-yard penalty. Sims, nowhere to go.
So you know where to go? Here's why. They play that man pressure, right? So when you play man pressure, you're going to have 7, 8, 9 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. There's not enough people to block all those guys. And on the snap, those guys are hitting the gaps. So how do you get away from that? You have to try to go deep now. You got him back in rhythm to set him up to loosen that front back 7 of the Cardinals.
2nd down and 9. If you're just joining us, Doug Martin looks like he's finished for the day with a hamstring injury. And Sims out of the backfield makes a catch. And again, it is Cooper coming up on the stop. And a 3rd down coming up for the Buccaneers as we close in on 8 minutes to play until halftime.
I thought the Cardinals played situational football there. 2nd and long, right? They've shown their pressure, backed off a little bit, took away the passes downfield, made him check it down, and then rallied up and tackled him on the spot.
Played cover 2, the corner played off. Now they'll come with pressure here to force Jameis Winston to make a quick throw. This is the down they make their money on.
7th play of this drive. Good protection. And he had an open receiver and just missed it. That was Adam Humphries. So the Buccaneers will be forced to punt it away.
And when you don't hurt pressure, all right, when you don't take advantage of a shot there, because they had it, they protected well, they didn't hit Humphries. When you don't do that, you just make that defense bolder, don't you?
Yeah, I think right now, I mean, he's off. Because bad throws on the deep one, bad throws on the interception, and right there you got a chance to make the play to keep the chains moving. You can't miss.
Protection was there, receiver was there, he just missed him with the throw.
Peterson stands back at his own 10, end over end punt. And it checks back up and down at the 7-yard line. Palmer and the Cardinals out to a 10-0 lead, 7:31 to play in the second quarter.
Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, beer with your team on it.
Worst starting field position so far today for Arizona. This drive starting, we'll call it the 8-yard line. They hand it off on first down. And Chris Johnson up over the 10 to the 12-yard line. Chris Carson, Palmer, and Jameis Winston, several things in common. Both won Heisman trophies. Their final year at school, both were the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft. The Bengals selecting Palmer in 2003, Winston in 2015 by these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The biggest difference, Palmer sat down his entire first year in the league. He was not a starter with the Bengals. Winston, the starter from day one in Tampa Bay. Second down, maybe a yard. So a third down upcoming, and you just get the feeling in this game, fellas, that Tampa Bay needs to make a play and try to make something happen on a scoreboard before halftime.
And it's got to come from somewhere, right? Because right there, Jameis Winston's not making the plays. He will, but he's not right now. So let's live in the now. So it's either defense or special teams, and your #1 running back, Doug Martin's out. So somebody has to step up.
And they're not a big monster blitz team, not a huge pressure team. So can Gerald McCoy, number 93, create some pressure inside and allow those speedy running backs, for speedy linebackers, David and Quan Alexander, to go after it.
Well, they dropped back in coverage that time, and it's going to be very close. He needed to get to the 19-yard line. That is Darren Fells, a third-year tight end, former basketball player, and he is short.
That's a big league tackle.
Tampa Bay will force a punt.
Shouldn't have to make a big league tackle because the ball is a bad ball. Because he has to turn, he has to leave his feet so he can't transition from catch to run, which allowed Hargraves to come up to keep him short of the first down. That's on Carson Palmer. It goes down as a completion, might as well go down as an incompletion.
Humphries waits back. Booming punt by Butler. Goodness, all the way to the 32. Humphries, a nice return. Still on his feet, and whoa, brother, did he take a lick from Nicholas, the backup tight end who's celebrating his birthday, and he just made Humphries a candle on that cake. Blew him out.
Ice time.
Bruce Arians in a Cardinals challenge. It appeared as though Humphries may have stepped out of bounds before he took that big shot from Troy Nicholas along the sideline.
This is Adam Humphries on the return on the sideline. You can see where the foot is. Maybe, is it right there? Is that the spot? So there you go. Taking a look, saying that that's in the white, and that ball should come back to that spot.
And then a second foot even stepped on the white. The left foot first and the right foot. And then a third time.
See his head down, Tom?
He should have run out of bounds because he didn't know what was coming, did he?
That's because his head's down. He's looking to see if he's out of bounds. And I'm telling you, there's nothing more dangerous in this world to run on an NFL football field with your head down. Because bad things happen, man. Bad things. Boom.
Oh, boy.
So that's where the keep your head on a swivel comes into play, correct?
I learned it.
Yeah, you learned it in a big way, believe me.
You taught a few guys that lesson, I think.
I learned it when I went to call defensive play back in the huddle, and I find myself in the Green Bay Packers offensive huddle calling play because my head wasn't on a swivel. So thanks, Keith Euchre.
The ruling on the field stands as called. Arizona is charged with their first time out of the half.
Well, now that is hard to believe.
That's a little bit of a surprise, to be honest.
That is really, really hard to believe. I mean, Bruce Arians is pointing up at the Jumbotron and saying, how in the world did we miss it? So that's the difference between the 43-yard line and the 49-yard line. 6-yard difference. Hey, for some it may not sound like much. 6 yards oftentimes is the difference between winning and losing. And a first down reception. A tight end gets in on the action. Safarian Jenkins, who had a 30-yard touchdown catch last weekend, is first today.
He's got to be a factor in this offense to operate on all cylinders. And I'll say that about any NFL offense. When your tight ends can occupy safeties and linebackers, that frees it for the edge players. That's why tight ends are such a valuable commodity in this league.
And they had 2 tight ends catch touchdown passes last week. Safarian Jenkins and Brandon Myers. Second down pitch to Sims. Tries to turn the corner and can't. Peterson is there.
How'd you like Deone Buchanan blowing that up in the backfield? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Number 20?
You know what? I love them blowing up. But when he elevates his game to the next level, he won't give up 1-for-1. Instead of going under him, he's going to come off and bounce off this guy.
Right side of your screen. Yeah. Just watch cut on the lower part of your screen. Here he comes right now, Buchanan. Right there.
It's a great read. But now, as he elevates his game, you hit and get. Don't hit and stick. Hit and get off the blocker.
Third down, 4:15 to play until halftime. At the Arizona 46, here they come. And Winston stands in there, and it is caught by another tight end, Cameron Brate, college free agent out of Harvard. And that is a Tampa Bay first down.
So we went from Deone Buchanan being a linebacker to now going back to his safety roots and coverage. And watch, he's got coverage, and he slips. And once he's down, Cameron Brate breaks out to the outside, and Winston hits him.
That Brate was too strong. Did not get knocked off his route whatsoever.
15-yard gain. Buccaneers into Arizona territory. Great protection. And then Brate makes a catch, but only good for a 1-yard pickup.
Let me go back to what you just said, Tom, and ask my partners here. You just said great protection. I feel like Tampa Bay's offensive line has done a pretty nice job protecting him all this game.
Right.
Am I off on that? It feels like they've handled their pressure pretty well.
And the two things, James has been off, and there's not a lot of separation being created by the Tampa Bay wide receivers against the man pressure we talked about in the open by the Cardinals.
Got to win your one-on-ones on the perimeter.
Winston. I'm not sure what happened there. Is that a fumble or is that a forward pass? And they're saying it's Arizona football.
It looks like a draw, but right there, Charles Sims in pass protection, his shoulder knocks the ball out of the hands of his quarterback. He's coming across, look, he's come across to help in pass protection, and it looks like his shoulder knocked the ball out of the hands of his quarterback.
Well, I don't understand why they're running play action if it's a 3-step drop. That was a quick throw. See, there's no play action, though. Jameis had no idea that was any play action. So that's a miscommunication between Winston and Sims.
Charles Sims, number 34, is helping in pass protection, and his shoulder knocks the ball out of the hands of his quarterback. I don't think this is a forward pass. That's knocking it out, and I think it's empty hand, and it is a fumble.
Yeah, and that's a mental error. I mean, you can understand physical turnovers, but when they're self-inflicted, when your own man knocks the ball out, because Charles Sims was coming in on play action, Jameis Winston's on a 3-step drop. I've never seen play action on a 3-step drop. It doesn't work.
And it didn't work there. So now Palmer with 3:06 to go until halftime. Looking down the field and nowhere near the intended target, Larry Fitzgerald. Second down. Each team, well, the Bucs anyway, 3 timeouts remaining. Cardinals lost 1 on the failed challenge a moment ago.
And remember, with Bruce Arians, he likes to script the first 30 plays of a game. You know, a lot of times we hear about the first 10, 12, 15. He likes to do the first 30, and in that script, he has 3 what he calls shot plays. those big things down, big plays downfield. We've seen 2 of them already now. That was the second one where he's tried to get it downfield to a wide receiver. He loves to push it deep into the secondary.
And that was exactly their 30th play run on offense so far in the game. Homer fakes a handoff to Johnson and overthrows him. 3rd down coming up, and we check in with Kurt Menefee back in Los Angeles.
All right, the San Diego Chargers blew a 21-point lead last week. Will they do it again today? They're up by that margin over Jacksonville. It's 21-0 right now in the second quarter. Tom?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. And Kurt will be keeping us up to speed on everything going on. Jaguars hung in there against Green Bay last week, trying to snap that 5-game losing streak against San Diego today. It's a 3rd and 10. 2:54 to play until halftime.
This guy they neutralized so far is McCoy. He's got to be a factor.
All day to throw it. You give Palmer that much time, there's no chance. And that is a first down to Jaron Brown to the 40.
Well, here, this is patent Tampa 2 defense. Playing 2 safeties high. And right here, when you have guys losing, 2 guys covering 1 guy to the outside, that's a miscommunication. And that's a mix-up. Last week against Atlanta, there were a ton of mental mistakes in that back end that hurt them. Right there's a mental mistake that keeps the drive alive.
And sometimes, as much as they don't want to see Robert Ayers running off the field for Tampa Bay, sometimes guys don't want to admit it, but that number on that jersey will make you bust some plays. And 2 guys ran too, Larry Fitzgerald.
Yep.
And Jaron Brown, number 13, he's in the scouting report, but he's not circled, right? There's no star next to his name, and he's one who's come free. And we've watched him develop, guys. This coaching staff of Arizona trusts Jaron Brown. He's going to get increased playing time and more opportunities as this season goes on.
Mayer is already questionable coming into the game with a bum ankle and slow to walk back to the sideline. Play fake again. And the catch cut. Evades a tackle as Johnson run out of bounds at the 25. 2:17 left.
This is the biggest difference right here. He delivers a ball to Chris Johnson in stride, so there's no work to transition from catch to run. He throws a shake and bake on Quan Alexander right here. Look at that. Not here, sir. No, thank you. Then watch his acceleration, 0 to 60. David Johnson, beast.
Took over as a starter, as we mentioned, when Chris Johnson was injured the final month of last season. His first 6 career starts, nearly 800 yards from scrimmage, most in the NFL during that time frame. Let's check in downstairs with Peter Schrager.
Hey, Tom, I spoke with Steve Keim, the general manager of the Cardinals, before the game. He said 2nd round, 2015, Amir Abdullah out of Nebraska was who they had circled. Abdullah goes a few picks before them. They have to wait around, and they say, okay, we'll try this kid out of Northern Iowa. David Johnson instead. It's worked out pretty well.
And Schrags, we keep going back to his time in Northern Iowa. A high school running back, prolific. He gets to college, they move him to wide receiver. His high school coach keeps ringing the phone of the guy of the Northern Iowa coach, keeps saying, you know, I think he's running back. Guys got to put him running back. They finally make the move, and this is what you see today. And David Johnson, you know, lightly recruited out of high school. All right, maybe not regarded as highly in the running backs coming out in the draft. Don't think he doesn't use that chip and let it keep growing on his shoulder as a little bit of fuel. He's humble, soft-spoken, but it motivates him.
Well, he's a triplet, you know, so you tend to be a little humble and soft-spoken because you got some other people around you that got to get a little bit of attention.
He's got sisters, right? Two girls and him. Yeah, he better be humble around there if he knows what he's doing right at the house.
You know, and you said Peter talked about speaking with Steve Keim. That's what general managers make their money.
That's right.
On these guys. We all agree on the 10s. We disagree on the 7s and 8s.
That's right. Well, that all depends on 7 and 8 what you're talking about. Follow your favorite team. Who do you think his favorite team is? All season long, just go to iTunes.com/NFL. Look at that little man.
I don't think he's been given a choice about what his favorite team is. Okay, this is the area if they want to throw the ball and they want to throw it underneath. David Johnson becomes a prominent pass catcher again.
Ball at the Buccaneers 25-yard line. Palmer zings it across the middle. And is it a touchdown? It is a touchdown for Larry Fitzgerald, his second of the game.
It's all about occupying safeties. Fitzgerald's going to run a skinny post. The safety jumps on Michael Floyd. Gus is late to provide help to Fitzgerald on the skinny post. You put too much pressure on Conti right there. He can't help. You don't let him make a decision. And Fitzgerald, perfect timing. And I think his knee was down before he got into that end zone.
Yeah, they're going to take a look at that. And you talk about occupying that safety to turn it into a one-on-one route for Larry Fitzgerald. He doesn't have that same traffic.
Knee down there.
But I think the knee is down right here, but short of the end zone. So he doesn't get another touchdown. But what a nice connection there. Palmer putting it right on him.
And the other thing is game planning, guys. So you know you're in a two deep. That's what Tampa loves to do. Okay, they're in a two deep coverage. What you want to do is attack that safety vertically so he cannot help on an outside guy that started out as a #1 receiver into the #2 receiver.
Well, let's check in with our main man back in Los Angeles for the first time today. Always looking dapper, and that is Mike Pereira. Michael, what do you think? Is this a touchdown for Larry Fitzgerald or no?
No, not a touchdown. They're going to take this away. I think maybe the official thought on the field that he wasn't touched, so therefore not being down by contact, it would have been a score. But he is tripped up from behind by the defender, and knee is down, so to me they will put this down at the 1.
Mike, listen, I think we all agree on the call, but I have a bigger one. When do we get an autographed copy of the book?
The runner's knee touchdown with the ball at the 1.5-yard line. Will be Arizona's ball, first and goal at the 1.5. The clock will start on my signal.
You know, Charles, I'll get it to you as quick as we can, but I've had 2 other requests, so I'm kind of backed up.
Okay,
you know.
I understand. I know my spot. No problem. I thought I'd ask.
Third request, so I'll get it out quickly.
Just want to get in the queue.
We'll be checking in with Mike Pereira throughout not only the rest of the afternoon, but of course with us all season long. We're so fortunate to have him ever since coming on board here on Fox. First and goal. Out of the shotgun, they're going to throw it incomplete.
That's a surprising call right there.
Were you surprised he wasn't under center there? Because they went pistol, which gives them the opportunity to run the ball because the tailback's behind him, but they decided to go pure throwing it out of that spot.
I'm surprised that they got people and they're moving people up front that just pounded in. I get it, you know, if you need that, and then you can avoid when you run the football, #3 taking an unnecessary shot.
That was Levante David who put the hit on Palmer. This time he's up under center. Chris Johnson in the backfield. They're going to throw it again. Play never works. And never is a strong word, but the bottom line is the numbers bear it out statistically. The chances of that play succeeding are minimal at best. From time to time, it works.
But they love that matchup because of the 6'3" versus the 5'10". And Brent Grimes did a nice job of actually throwing the timing off by getting a little chuck on him as the ball was starting to go into the air.
Well, that's a bad pass on Palmer. He's got to throw him open and back shoulder with Grimes sitting that hard inside.
So now all of a sudden this becomes a very interesting decision. 3rd down and goal from just outside the 1. They're going to throw it again. And Palmer steps up and finds Floyd in the back of the end zone. So the Cardinals cash in after all.
And when you don't have a mobile quarterback who can threaten the edge in these situations, you've got to protect him. And look at what they did up front. Plenty of time for him to actually go through progressions and find Michael Floyd in the back of the end zone.
Here's the other thing, too. Carson Palmer moves #23, Chris Conti, with his eyes. Look at Conti go outside with his eyes. He's late coming back to the back line of the end zone. When you play goal line pass defense, the one area you have to defend, because there's always a route, is that back end line every single time. Carson Palmer moved Conti with his eyes, allowing Floyd open.
So now a chance to make it 17-0, and it is good by Catanzaro. So another turnover by Tampa Bay leads to an Arizona touchdown. This time it started with the Jameis Winston fumble when he had the ball knocked out of his hands by his own teammate Charles Sims.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Show, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys get their first win. The Giants send the Saints to 0-2, and the Patriots tried to win one without Tom Brady or Jimmy Garoppolo. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
Looking forward to it. Coming up shortly, a minute 30 seconds of playing time away from that. They play 68 yards. It looked like Fitzgerald had a touchdown, but brought back after review. Floyd, the beneficiary, his first score of this young season. Well, this first half offensively has been a disaster so far for Tampa Bay. Buccaneers so impressive last week in their win over Atlanta. Scored 4 touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns by Jameis Winston. But today, not quite the same sort of numbers, although an entire half and a little change still to go.
Chris, you saw this young man in college. All right, remember when I was talking earlier? This is a kid that has that mentality of, okay, you got me this time, I'm gonna get you next time. And he finds a way to keep going throughout time. You've seen him make those types of comebacks, haven't you?
And he has a chance right here in a hurry-up situation to get in some type of rhythm, especially if the Cardinals play soft zone.
And remember, the Buccaneers get the ball to begin the second half, so we'll see if they can't get something started. That is a terrible throw on first half.
So he's off. I mean, but you have to go in and regroup. Now, quarterbacks can go in and regroup and say make adjustments. Nobody else makes adjustments. Nobody makes halftime adjustments. They make series adjustments, right? Every time you come off the road. But he could come in and regroup because his timing is off. And I think, whether you want to believe it or not, his confidence is wavering just a tad because he hasn't come back from a poor start.
Second down and 10. They're coming after him down the middle of the field. He took a big hit just as he delivered the football from Calais Campbell. It's third down and 10. Now all of a sudden Arizona thinking, hey, we force an incompletion here, we might have one more shot before the end of the half.
And they're getting bolder and bolder. I think James Betcher, the defensive coordinator, I wouldn't be surprised to see him bring the house on this one. They're going to want the football back for one last shot before the half goes, and here's their opportunity.
I would say don't get greedy. I understand the mentality, but because you got it rolling, don't get greedy.
Did you drop and play coverage?
Well, here they come, and Winston looks for the long ball, and it's incomplete to Humphries. Excellent coverage back there once more by Jefferson and Cooper. Cooper's getting the bulk of the playing time today rather than the rookie Brandon Williams.
Top part of your screen, Cooper 41 in red just runs with Humphries. And he's shadowing him right on his upfield shoulder. He's right there. And now Arizona's going to get it back again. And if they can get a nice return here, John Brown back deep, they could be in business.
3 plays in that series took 17 seconds. 3 straight incompletions. Line drive, punt, returnable, or is it? No, fair catch signal for by John Brown. College football kicks off Friday on FS1. USC takes on Utah at 8:30 Eastern. And then on to Saturday, Boise State against Oregon State. Then the nightcap, Oklahoma State goes to Waco to take on number 21 Baylor. 7 p.m. Eastern, that'll be on Fox. Of course, a big night last night on Fox. And Mr. Spielman, your alma mater, under head coach Urban Meyer. Very impressive. Meanwhile, for Tampa Bay, last time the Bucs were shut out in the first half, October of 2014, and that's while Jameis Winston was still playing for the Florida State Seminoles. So now Palmer with 2 timeouts. A minute 17 left. And dropped by Fells. How about the mighty Buckeyes last night, Mr. Spielman?
That's Urban Meyer and what they're able to do. They just replace. It's like stormtroopers in Star Wars. All these white helmets go off, and there's a million other white helmets that look like the guys just went off to the NFL. They're just too young.
The penalty or the game last night? Because Veldier got a penalty there, brought it back. But I thought Ohio State played awfully well. I think they're the best team in the country right now. You know, I know a lot of people want to say Alabama and the whole deal. Look at the Big Ten right now. Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State. All three should be in the top 10.
And Wisconsin already is as well.
I don't quite put them there despite the win with LSU, but I get it. I mean, the Big Ten right now is going to be feeling good about what they're doing.
Unless you're in Iowa.
That's a tough day, but that was North Dakota State. They're pretty good.
And a handoff goes to David Johnson. He's up to the original line of scrimmage, or close to it anyway. Clock continues to run under a minute.
I like the Cardinals right here in their clock management with 2 timeouts left. No panic. And they got a manageable second down.
Palmer out of the shotgun. And what a throw that was. John Brown caught it. And he's out of bounds at the 40.
Now this is where you understand when you know the backstory. John Brown for 2 years now has spent a summer with Carson Palmer and his family. Stays at the house. He's a an extra member of the family. Does the workouts, catches passes, the whole deal. Missed most of preseason with a concussion, just now rounding into form. But you can see the work that they put in the offseason.
He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year. He lost a lot of money on that bet when you start looking at some of the other guys at receiver, especially Floyd and Fitzgerald. And now a timeout will be called as Darren Fells gets it to midfield. You know, last year the Cardinals offense, the best in the NFL. It stayed that way until the NFC Championship game. Palmer playing injured. Threw 4 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown. He lost a pair of fumbles. It was a rout right from the get-go. Luke Kuechly in the Panther D leading that franchise to the Super Bowl. You know, you look at Palmer last year, the first 14 games of the season, he throws 31 touchdowns, he throws 9 interceptions. Then they're playing Philadelphia, and he injures the right index finger of his throwing hand. The next 4 games, including the playoffs, he threw 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. But he never used the finger as an excuse. He was asked about it, would never say that's the reason why. Look at this. Jerron Brown, a touchdown. "51 yards, Palmer to the speedster Jerron Brown."
Did we have this discussion at practice the other day about Jerron Brown and his role increasing? Look at that. Just splits right down the middle. And because the protection was so good, Carson Palmer had time to pump and make sure he was clear before he even threw the ball.
And that's bad by Chris Conte. You have to understand game situations. And you see him running full speed with his head down. You got to get out of your back pedal and protect the back end, because that's where they're going to attack.
With the time on the clock, everything's got to be caught in front of you. It's that simple.
Get out of your back pedal in that situation.
Going after is good. So in the final, well, less than 2 minutes, Arizona has scored 14 points to take a 10-0 game to a 24-0 lead.
So when you have a speed team and you understand the situation, you want to protect your back end. Watch how long Chris stays in his back pedal. And watch how quick he climbs it. First of all, there's no disruption of the timing of the route. He's still in his back pedal, and it's too late because he's full speed, and you're trying to transition out of the back pedal to run with Brown. You know, I got a better shot. And that's just, but Conte could have been helped if you disrupt the timing of number 2. So Conte is not put in a position like that.
So when you're saying disrupt the timing of 2, someone up front, get a jam, get a hand on him, or chip him off his route, anything to make sure he slows down a little to help your safeties.
Please. Right?
Exactly.
Well, you played safety, right?
I would have been begging for the help.
Yes. You
okay,
need that.
Please, someone. And you know what receivers say anyway when they climb on top of you, when they get up there. Guys, if we're even, we're leaving. And that's exactly what happened there with Jerron Brown.
Still 20 seconds remaining until halftime. And bringing it out of the end zone is Shorts. And he's well short of where he would have been had he taken a knee.
I still think people are adjusting to that 25-yard line about where it comes out to. And there's Steve Keim, who's standing in the back there.
Yep.
And up front, sitting down in the red tie, Michael Bidwell. And also in their front office there is Terry McDonough to Michael Bidwell's right, your left. The brain trust of the Cardinals. And boy, have they done a fantastic job assembling this roster.
And the reason is they're at the same page with Bruce Arians. In order for any team to operate at a high level, GM, front office need to be on the same page as the head coach or it will never work.
And how about the owner, Michael Bidwell, assembling them, giving them what they need to do their job, and they're turning them loose.
Winston going to throw it on first down, penalty flag down, and he will step out of bounds. You know, our thoughts and prayers go to the entire Bidwell family. Today, the Cardinals are wearing a sticker on their helmets with the initials NJB, signifying the passing of Nancy Bidwell.
Illegal use of hands to the face by the defense, number 44. A 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, results in an automatic first down.
Bill Bidwell, the longtime owner of this franchise, Michael's father, was married to Nancy Bidwell, Michael's mother, for 56 years. She passed away on August the 17th, and our prayers and thoughts are with the entire family as they continue to mourn that loss.
I talked with Michael in pregame, and he said, you know something? She went peacefully, holding the hand of her husband. If that's the way you're going to go at 84 years old, sign me up.
No doubt about it. Another penalty flag down as Winston is sacked on what will be the final play of the half, maybe, depending on the penalty. It is a hold, so that's the way the half will end. Marcus Golden getting the sack.
Offense, number 74. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, second down.
So after the penalty against Golden, he comes right back and gets the sack to end the half. Or not.
The Cardinals are running off the field.
So are the Buccaneers.
So they're running.
They have to run one more play.
Yep, you have to play one more play. So they will run it.
But that's because I think because his official time is still kept by the referee on the field. It's not necessarily the clock you see in the stadium.
That's right. There's a clock misfunction here in what the rest of us are watching. So they're just going to take a knee and get out of here. After such an impressive win in week 1 on the road in Atlanta. A rough first half for Jameis Winston and the Buccaneers. And after a week 1 loss for Carson Palmer and company, great start. 24-0 at halftime. We'll kick it back to LA. Today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Turnovers critical for the Buccaneers in the first half. A pair of interceptions thrown by Winston. He also lost a fumble. Cardinals taking full advantage of that. And that's today's excitement brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Back with Charles Davis, Chris Spielman, and Peter Schrager. We've seen Jameis Winston before in his pro career and his college career. Can have a bumpy, part of the early part of the game and then gets it together, and that's what Tampa Bay needs right quick.
So they're counting on that to happen. It didn't happen throughout the first half. I think the pressure of Arizona really got to him. He was off in a lot of what he did, but it's also the team. There's a big air of excitement about this team after beating Atlanta, almost a college atmosphere. They've got to get back to playing some good football.
So when you play passive 1 week and you make a corporate decision that's not who we are, we're going to be aggressive, come after, play man-to-man coverage. And what they were worried about coming this game, Brandon Williams, can he hold up? We didn't call Brandon Williams' name the whole half. Guess what? That's good news if you're a corner.
Right. And nor we called Vincent Jackson's name the entire half, and that's the guy they figured to have the matchup on Brandon Williams with. Checking with Peter Schrager here momentarily as Tampa Bay will get the football to 25. Peter, how about it?
Tom, I asked Dirk Cutter, the head coach of the Buccaneers, what do you say to a team down 24-0 at the half? He said, stop beating ourselves. He said, what do you do to get the offense going? He says, hey, no more turnovers. And that's the case. As for Bruce Arians, you'd think he'd be thrilled with that half. He said, no. We left points on the board. We scored a field goal in the red zone. It should have been 6.
They have to start winning their one-on-one battles outside. That's where they're losing this ball game.
Talk about Tampa Bay.
Yes, thank you.
And, you know, we brought up the name Brandon Williams, a rookie who had a rough NFL debut, and he's not the only guy that's ever happened to. They put it in the hands of Humphreys, and that's a gain of 11 on first down. In fairness to Williams, it has been Marcus Cooper who has been playing the overwhelming majority of the other corner on the other side of Patrick Peterson in this game so far today.
And he's played it well.
Yes.
And when we met with Arizona, what did Patrick Peterson tell us? Brandon Williams is going to be a nice player, but experience would be a big help on the other corner.
Sims playing for the injured Doug Martin, who had to leave very early in this game with a hamstring injury, and that's Cooper, who was part of that tackle on the first down run by Sims.
I think, I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
I just think we're talking about Cooper, not only solid in the pass, but to come up and fill run support as a corner.
Exactly where I was going. This is a really good tackling secondary, isn't it? Corners and safeties. They didn't tackle well against New England. They're doing it today.
That pass looked like it was tipped as they set up another wide receiver screen to Humphreys and a pretty good pickup.
Is that Tyvon Branch who tipped that one?
He made that tackle a moment ago along with Cooper and got a finger on this one, it looked like.
They do, and you know, one thing about this too is that the coverage is so far off. That's why that play is able to succeed, and they'll keep running until they see Arizona start pressing.
Tampa Bay needs a first down in the worst sort of way and overthrown. I mean, Winston felt some pressure, but he had a wide open receiver. Should have been a first down, and Peterson wondering how he didn't intercept it. And it looks like very early on here. There you see the open Evans.
I wonder, did Mike Evans feel Tyrann Mathieu coming underneath him? Because 32 Mathieu buzzed underneath on that route, even though Peterson was way off. That might have gotten Evans' focus away from the football.
2 of 5 on third down so far today. And here they come after Winston. And that throw on the money to the tight end, Safarian Jenkins, and a first down to Cardinal territory.
So you see them up front, and all this pressure we keep talking about, and they did a nice job keeping things clean for him to deliver. But I thought that was a big body catch right there by Austin Safarian Jenkins. Yeah. See that body of his, keeping a Tony Jefferson on his back and away from the football. That allowed him to develop the pass and gain a first down.
That's a huge man at 6'5", 262 pounds. Oft-injured tight end, very talented. It's interesting some of his comments last week in the win over Atlanta. Ball thrown down the sideline, incomplete, great coverage, although a penalty flag comes in. That was Peterson going step for step with Evans.
Are they going to call Peterson on that play?
Pass interference. Offense, number 13. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Chris, it looked to me like Peterson had the better position, and that's probably why he forced his pass interference.
Well, it starts out with
See
him.
that?
Yeah,
he's got it pinned.
Beautiful.
He's got it pinned right there, and Evans tried to go through it.
But the good thing about that, it starts out with him getting physical at the line of scrimmage. If Patrick Peterson wants to be a legend, well, he's on his way. When you can jam and disrupt routes like that and win a physical battle against a physical receiver, you got his number.
Peterson went to his 5th consecutive Pro Bowl last season. The first 4 as a special teamer. And there's that wide receiver screen, and that is good enough for a first down again to Adam Humphreys. Chris Spielman, you just said it. If it works, you're going to keep doing it.
And here's why. Because his coverage is so far off, and they got numbers. They just count numbers right here. We have 3 on 2. It's perfect. Now we have 4 on 3. You get those big hogs out there. That's a great call. They'll keep going to it, and they'll force the press coverage to take it away.
And the first block was delivered by Vincent Jackson, the wide receiver, to help set up the lineman getting downfield.
So the Buccaneers on the move. First down. And Winston steps out of trouble. He can run it a little bit. You know, that's one of the things about Winston. You know, it's kind of interesting. Charles, you were talking about it. You know, sometimes we assume that a guy is an athletic quarterback. All right? We can get into 1,000 different reasons why, but sometimes we assume that he is. And Winston is not the most athletic quarterback, but he's a pretty good runner.
He knows where he wants to get, and you see the subtle fake there with the ball fake, which brought him a little extra space and time and allowed him to gain extra yardage. Smart runner.
It is rare you'll see a quarterback who runs for over 4 yards a carry because of, trying to scramble away and get sacked, loss of 1 or 2. That's what he did last year, including rushing for 6 touchdowns.
Remember, they're starting usually from back at about 7 yards before they even take off to get to the line of scrimmage to gain yardage.
That's right.
Makes it a little bit different. They've got a nice little drive going here now.
Here we go.
Short drop. Lost to the end zone and completed. I mean, Peterson on Evans like a blanket.
Here's the beautiful thing about Peterson. They tried to double move him, and he's not biting. You know why? Because he trusts his athletic ability to break if they throw the first route. So he has the luxury of playing technique and discipline. Watch Patrick Peterson on a double move. He doesn't bite. He trusts his training. Look at that, sitting right there in great position to make a play because he had Honey Badger sitting underneath for the help.
Underneath and behind him, the end line of the end zone. You can only go so far, and he knew that.
They try to trick him with a handoff on 2nd down. It does not fool Arizona defensively, starting with Deion Buchanan, their leading tackler from a season ago, Mr. Everything.
Added a little weight in the offseason because he felt himself wear down physically last year. Starting the year around 220 pounds, playing that dollar linebacker position. He's taken on a lot of blocks and a lot of big people that he wouldn't be doing at the safety position.
I mean, when you're getting shut out, any points sounds like a good idea. When you're down 24-0, you need a touchdown. And that's exactly what they get this time. They're able to beat Peterson, and Evans with a touchdown reception. Beautifully thrown ball.
So how about the adjustment there? Because they've worked on this route throughout the game, and we've talked about it. And what was the adjustment? The back shoulder throw. Chris, you talked about it earlier in the game. Sometimes you've got to change up what you're doing. Instead of throwing it down the pipe where Peterson's got to play, goes back shoulder. Look at the adjustment by Mike Evans with the body control to come back and get the football.
You know, anybody out there, grab a football in your backyard during our commercial and just start light running and look one way and then try to turn another. I mean, that is an unbelievably athletic play by Evans.
The other thing, if you have pressure, you got to get there because you can't ask your guy to cover all day. They had pressure, did not get there.
Aguayo, the highly decorated 3-time first-team All-American out of Florida State with a point after, so perhaps a little light for the first time today. Famous Jameis, the touchdown to Evans.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By the Lincoln Motor Company and the exhilarating new Lincoln MKZ. And by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss.
How about that, fellas? A little Arizona Pop Warner League. Northwest Valley Sun Cats against the North Central Blue Devils. That's mighty stuff right there.
And you know, when those two teams get together, throw the record books right out. Just throw them right out. You'd have no idea who's going to win that one. How great is that to see? What I loved it most at the end, though, the sportsmanship. Guys going back and forth, dapping each other up on their way out. Really nice.
They threw our producer off the field, and there's a. And look, if you have a youngster these days, in any sporting event, you're going to see some of that.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt
going on. Charles Davis still does that in between commercials. 75 yards on that drive. The first half, they had a total of 92. Buccaneers trail 24-7. First possession offensively in the second half for Carson Palmer. He comes out throwing. Dumps it off to Johnson, and look out. Looking for a block from Floyd. He got that. And now looking for the end zone. And run out of bounds inside the 25.
It's all about matchups in the NFL. Johnson's going to go one-on-one against the guy that made 17 tackles last week in Quan Alexander. Quan's going to come off nice. And the problem is he did not have the acceleration. And you teach guys to run through tackles, not drop to your knees. Quan left his feet early. When he left his feet, David Johnson left him.
You mentioned in the first half how David Johnson can go from 0 to 60 better than anyone you see, but it's not just straight ahead 0 to 60. That you see that little side jump cut there? That was a 0 to 60 move as well.
113 yards from scrimmage, and we're just underway in the third quarter. They hand it off to Chris Johnson, no relation, and a nice play by the rookie Vernon Hargraves, the third. Let's check in downstairs with Peter Schrager.
Hey, Buccaneers have some injuries here, Tom. We know about Doug Martin. He's now out with a hamstring. You know about Luke Stocker, out with an ankle. Robert Ayers Jr., the star defensive end, he is now out with an ankle injury as well.
What's 9.5 sacks he had as a New York Giant a season ago.
And 7.5 of them in the last 5 games of the year, so he's been on a nice roll. They're going with a heavy-looking lineup here, Chris. A couple of extra tight ends and all. Almost makes me feel like they're trying to show you one thing and isolate a receiver in another.
Well, that's what they do. They're going to probably attack this side of the field right here.
Palmer. Boy, he is very, very lucky right there that Brent Grimes does not come up with that interception. That was a poorly thrown ball.
Yeah, and this is a bad read. Now, if this was a linebacker, you go at him. If it's a corner, don't go at him, because a corner can cover a running back. If he can't cover a running back, then he'll be in the lunch line at some other place.
Carson Palmer thought that was a bang 8. He thought it was a skinny post there. You saw the throw. He's expect David Johnson to run a skinny post there, and David Johnson's running up to the outside.
And when you see the hands go up and the fists in frustration, that's why he's a running back.
Yep.
Third down and 10. It's John Brown in motion, trips to the right side, and Palmer is dropped back at the 22-yard line by Noah Spence. Second-round pick out of Eastern Kentucky.
Here he is. Remember, he came from Ohio State, had some issues there. It was all Big Ten. Look at him working up there on DJ Humphries, gets him off balance and comes back inside, and that's the best part of his two best parts of his game. First step quickness off the ball, and then closing speed. And Noah Spence finished off that play.
Boy, they thought he was going to be one of the great stars, you know, maybe all time at Ohio State University after the way he played his first 2 years there. Then was run off the team by head coach Urban Meyer, but took advantage of another chance, and he's trying to make the most of it. Field goal is good. 27-7 midway through the third.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Welcome to Verizon LTE Advance, the next-gen network.
27-7. Catanzaro set to kick it off with Arizona in front. Cardinals trying to get to 1-1. But still a long way to go in this one.
I thought that was a significant drive for Arizona to give a little bit of an answer to the touchdown in Tampa Bay.
And you know what you saw on that field goal was another low snap. Now everybody around here is talking about Sunday night. Catanzaro missing the game-winning field goal against New England, 23-21, and the rookie Cameron Canaday. And you know, you don't want to lay all the blame on him, but you know, this is something now that has happened for a second time.
Yeah, and this snap is low right here, and it disrupts the timing. Now, that's a great job by the holder to get it set in place, but anytime that snap is not perfect, especially a short snap, Tom, it's got to be perfect. You're a professional. You get paid a lot of money. Put it on the numbers every single time at 8 yards.
Good job by Drew Butler handling it, and at least in this one, he didn't have to move very much. He was just low.
Winston on first down, able to escape trouble. That'll be a flag against Tampa Bay. And this will come back. It's a 10-yard gain, but it'll be a penalty, a holding penalty against the Buccaneers. Look like their right tackle, DeMar Dotson.
It just puts a ton of pressure on the Tampa offensive
Illegal use
line.
of hands to the face. Offense, number 69. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
You're down 27-7, and you got some guys trying to get some bonus money with sacks. And so, you know, they all know it, right?
Well, you talked about dogs and pass rush, right? It's time for the dogs to come out, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, this is Chandler Jones with big free agent money right there. It's a good stick right there.
See, right there.
Yeah.
DeMar Dotson, 69, the former basketball player from Southern Miss. That's Cameron Canaday, the long snapper. And let's face it, we're not piling on this young man by any stretch, but a team that has Super Bowl aspirations is not going to stand very long for that being an issue that they have to work through.
Even that small miss. Yes. That's something. Bruce Arians knows about that.
quick slant. First time we've called Vincent Jackson's name all day today. He's up to the 30. Let's send it back to Los Angeles to Kurt Menefee.
Tony Jefferson and Marcus Cooper. 75.
We'll check in with Kurt in a moment. Second down and 5 after the 15-yard gain.
These are man beaters. Those tight splits beat man coverage.
They're coming after Jameis, and it's out of the reach of Evans, who was looking for a penalty flag on Cooper that never came.
And when you talk about those tight splits beating man coverage, you're talking about people getting knocked off of their routes in your coverage, right? Because Kevin Minter was trying to get out wide, and he actually had the receiver, didn't go there.
And it also causes hesitation because of the discombobulation. There's a bunch of bodies. Guys have to wait before receivers declare before they jump.
Love that word. My old college coach used it all the time.
I don't even know if that's a word.
It is a word.
I'll take it now.
John T. Majors at Tennessee use it all the time.
What a catch that was. That's a high throw, and that had some hair on it now.
You can't have that
first down.
Tommy, you can't have that soft coverage in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5. Matthews off about 7 yards. And I don't know if he trusts his knee or not trusts his knee. I just know that when you're in that type of situation, you got to at least play the sticks and trust your training and trust that the blitz will get there so you can make the tackle if he gets the catch.
You know, so much was made, fellas, about Matthew and the style of play they used him last year, or last week, I should say. You know, when he started week 1, that was fewer than 270 days removed from tearing your ACL. And he's back on the field week 1.
Talking with the Arizona staff, this is his second ACL. The first one, and it's hard to believe I'm about to say this, the first one was a worse tear than this one. So it's kind of like, well, he can come back quicker, but at the same time, you still have to get out there, and Chris, you know, as a player, and trust that knee and trust traffic around it.
Calais Campbell is the injured Cardinal. We'll step out and be right back. Two-time Pro Bowler Calais Campbell shaken up on that last play. Still visiting with him over on the sideline. 2nd and 3. Close to midfield. Tampa Bay trails 27-7. And Jameis Winston works out of a shotgun. What a catch. Well, the athleticism with some of these players. That Cecil Shorts is just staggering.
But did he get hurt on that play? There's no, I mean, the way he caught it and then went down almost immediately because there was open space. See, there's the catch. Extends for the catch. And then he looks like he got a little gimpy there because there was space and he just went down before the tackle.
Yeah, boys, I love what Tampa's doing here. Kind of no huddle tempo to get back into it. Not only to get back in the game, but to get Winston in rhythm because he's starting to feel it a little bit now because I'm feeling him, feeling it.
Now we have to find if he's feeling you, feeling it.
Well, that feeling doesn't last very long. Marcus Cooper on the tip ball for an Arizona touchdown.
Well, the old tip drill is going to come into play. Here's Cooper, 41, the second person that I circled. I think the tip drill comes by trying to run the screen, and it tips off the hands of Sims. But that play was made by Dayon Buchanan. Yeah. He came in and blew it up because he grabbed Sims on the screen. See that? And on that tackle, Sims unable to haul it in. He tips it to Cooper, and Cooper gets his second one of the day and waltzes in.
Tell you what a day it has been for Cooper. Now, we weren't tipped off by the Arizona coaches that he was going to see a significant amount of playing time today. They were talking more about Brandon Williams, a rookie, and getting him right.
I think Patrick Peterson may have tipped us off, and we just didn't hear it. He said he wanted experience on the other corner, and Marcus Cooper has more experience than Brandon Williams.
Point after is missed. Cardinals flying high to the chagrin of the Tampa Bay quarterback. 3 interceptions, 1 lost fumble, 4 turnovers for Winston today after a 4 touchdown no interception game against Atlanta. Saw Josh Morrow actually tip that ball before. It was then in and out of the hands of Sims before landing in the hands of Cooper, who races 59 yards for a touchdown.
So if you're an offensive lineman, you don't get touched, or defensive lineman, seems to get your hands in the air like you don't care. And this is a great job of Josh Morrow, not getting touched and reading and coming out of his pass rush to get the balls in the air for the tip drill, Charles.
It was really a synchronized deal because Morrow, Buchanan, and Cooper. Now watch how it all syncs up. Morrow, first tip, right here, boom. Buchanan, tackle on Sims for the second tip. Cooper with the catch to finish things off. So when he got his hands and waved them around like he didn't care, it worked out pretty well.
Nice.
Well, they pitch it to Sims, still on his feet, and up to the 34-yard line, a gain of 9 on first down.
It's hard enough to deal with Arizona, and if you don't have everyone on your squad ready to go. Doug Martin's been hurt, running back. Luke Stocker, tight end, a great blocker, hurt. And on this play, he came up and he was staggering around a little bit. I think that's Swearinger, isn't it? DJ Swearinger.
I'm going to tell you, he's really not cold because he was stumbling. And I admire his toughness for trying to stand up, but they did a good job of recognizing that quickly to stop that.
They did a great job. They were on the spot like that. And give all the medical personnel, you know, big kudos, because after Thursday night opener, Cam Newton in Denver.
Boy.
Okay, a lot of discussion about that. Everyone's got a heightened awareness.
Yeah, take a look now. Watch his head. His head's going to hit first, I think, on the knee. The good thing, let's see. His head is up. At least his eyes are up.
So he's seeing what he's contacting, but he hits the hip of Sims right there.
Yeah, and you got popped back a little bit. Then he tried to get up, but he got a little stammered. But for that position, when you're most vulnerable, and this is for, we talked about Little League, all you coaches up there, head up, eyes up, wrap up. When your head goes down and your eyes are to the ground, that's when you're most vulnerable for the dangerous neck injury.
That's really going to hurt. But one more time, the medical personnel here, boy, were they on the spot on this one. Okay, I know they catch grief sometimes, not in this case. They were right on it.
Jaquiz Rogers just brought in late this week, and he'll get his first touch as a Buccaneer. He played for a number of years, of course, with Mike Smith, now the defensive coordinator, when he was head coach in Atlanta.
And Dirk Cutter was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. So a lot of people at home are like, how does he come in during the week and know the playbook? Well, it's the same playbook Dirk Cutter was running that he ran in Atlanta. So it's an easy pickup when Mike Smith was the head coach. You see Mike Smith there in the box, but now defensive coordinator of Tampa Bay.
Well, probably didn't expect to play much, but with the injury, he's forced into action. He's a pro. He'll be fine.
Humphreys again. You know, look, it's only human nature, you know, not to try and to play favorites in our role sometimes, but you just saw Mike Smith, truly one of the good guys in this game, dedicated his entire life. When's the last time a head coach was 20 games over 500? In 7 years, you take your team to the playoffs 4 times, and you get run.
Unfortunately, it happens way more than we ever want to discuss in all sports for different and various reasons. It's good to see Smitty back on the sideline.
Sure is. And here's Rogers with a big run all the way to the 30. All right, now we're going to catch up with Kurt Menefee back in L.A. Kurt?
I missed you guys, and I'm sure you missed me too. Robert Turbin doesn't miss here. 5-yard touchdown run against the Denver Broncos. Game all knotted, 13 apiece late in the third quarter. Tom, Charles, Chris, and Peter.
Boy, football is a funny game. Indianapolis last week, they go down the field, they score late, and their defense gives up a late drive by Stafford and the Colts. They lose at home today to Tennessee.
Talk about the Lions.
Yeah, and now you have Indy losers at home, going on the road and toe-to-toe thus far with the defending Super Bowl champs. Vincent Jackson to the 28-yard line on a first down reception.
Nice drive by Tampa Bay. Again, having a response now. What's happening is Arizona is playing a little more cautious, which a lot of people might not like, but the only way Tampa Bay can get back into this, if their defense is vulnerable, the only way you're vulnerable is man with blitz coverage.
Quick strikes, too, because you're playing the clock as well. 2:20 left in the third quarter.
Well, you can see Matthew is 25 yards behind the line of scrimmage at the safety spot.
Now they did tell us that Tyrann Mathieu, who's usually up in this area more, is going to be playing a lot more deep free safety, at least for what? The first 4 games is what we talked about. Coming back from the knee injury, they're going to keep him as a free safety back there before they let him go back to his old Honey Badger playmaking ways.
And when he goes back, that knee brace will be off. That's when you know he's back. There's no knee brace.
Third down and 6. Winston fires a strike, and it's caught inside the 5 by Vincent Jackson. Is that a fumble, or is it an incomplete pass? Incomplete pass.
Look at Winston. See the eyes, seeing his target, and putting it in a nice spot. Puts it up there for Jackson to go get. But he didn't complete the process of the catch all the way to the ground and finish the play.
It's a great job by Branch of not giving up on the play and not going for the kill shot, but trying to attack and rip the ball. That takes discipline on a defensive back's part.
And you notice Mathieu back there again. And I think you're right, Chris. We'll know when the brace is off. He's back closer to the line of scrimmage, and he drives quicker on passes such as that one.
Yeah, he's a tad tentative still. Absolutely.
45-yard field goal try by Aguayo, and he pushes it off to the right. No good. Aguayo, a second-round draft pick by the Buccaneers out of Florida State. He really struggled in the preseason until the final game. And then everybody said, oh, okay, he's fine. This one missed from 45.
And he was fine in Atlanta last week. That snap was a little bit high and away. A good job by Brian Anger getting it down for him. But he just missed it.
Kickers. Somebody asked me last week, you know, what goes through a kicker's mind?
I have no
idea for what goes through a kicker.
Know.
I don't socialize with him, never socialized with him, have no interest in it, so don't ask me what goes through a kicker's mind. Who knows what goes through their minds? They're insane.
Tom, do not ask him what goes through a kicker. He's getting excited up here.
Well, apparently we're not going to be asking one in an introduction meeting coming up anytime soon either. We'll ask these guys about it. They'll tell you every weekday morning. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp head-to-head on today's hottest sports topics. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon weekdays 9:30 Eastern. I know, Charles, you were talking about watching some of that the other day.
Charles got me turned on to that show. I'm looking forward to that.
You guys know how to tune in.
Second down and 8 for Palmer and the Cardinals, and they'll stay on the ground. Final 1:15 of the third. Johnson.
On the carry.
Well, coming into the game, he needed 245 yards, did Carson Palmer, to pass Hall of Famer Joe Montana. And with his 271, he leapfrogs Montana's 16th. Look at those last 2 names he's passed the first 2 weeks of this year.
Man.
Johnny U and Joe Montana.
But if that doesn't tell you how the game has changed, I don't know what does. To see those numbers and see Joe Montana and Johnny Unitas at those spots, it tells you how the game has changed. But that doesn't diminish the greatness of those two of the all-time greatest to ever grace a field.
I tell you what, Charles, I think for a lot of us in our 50s, what a throw that is, and a catch by Johnson. I think it speaks even more volume than Johnny Unitas. I mean, Montana, they were starting to throw it a little bit more.
Recognizing matchups, David Johnson on Levante David, who can run. But guess what? He can't run like David Johnson. Carson Palmer knows that's where it's going the whole way. That's a matchup that they'll take all day. And when you can beat Levante David, that's a weapon, because Levante David might be one of your better covered linebackers that you have.
It's been a big day for Johnson. 69 yards rushing, 74 yards, now 97 yards receiving on 3 catches, including that 58-yarder. All right, end of the third. Arizona 15 minutes away from evening their record on the year. 33-7, Arizona over Tampa Bay. We're set to begin the fourth quarter, and the Cardinals have the football at the Tampa Bay 35-yard line. It's first down. 24 points in the second quarter scored by the Cardinals. 14 in the last 2 minutes. And there's Fitzgerald, his 6th catch of the afternoon.
A little misdirection here. Watch Larry Fitzgerald. He's going to work inside on short motion. Then he's just going to come across the field for Carson Palmer. So anyone who thinks Bruce Arians looks at the scoreboard and says, let's run the clock down, let's run the ball, so you don't know Bruce Arians.
Yeah, how about the luxury of having Larry Fitzgerald? All you got to do is throw it within the zip code. He's probably going to catch it. He's going to catch it, and that's just trust between Palmer and Fitzgerald.
And you know Bruce Arians, he always drives in the left lane, okay? So there's none of that slowing it down.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Charles, you say that because, you know, Arians, like you pointed out earlier, I mean, he told us the other day that he may have stayed in the slow lane last week in that game against New England, and it came back to bite him.
And he was not happy with himself.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he went against his grain.
Well, he took over, of course, now in his 4th year. Won 10 games, did not make the playoffs in 13. 14, they had to go to a 3rd-string quarterback after injuries to Palmer and Stanton. Lost in the wild card round. And then after beating Green Bay in that miracle finish in the divisionals, you know, they were leveled by Carolina.
That year they went to the deep in the quarterbacks. They actually used a 4th during the year in Logan Thomas.
That's right.
Brian Lindley played in the playoffs after Stanton got hurt.
Chris Johnson. And powerful running. Down to the 5, 1st and goal, Arizona.
You could get the sense that the Cardinals are playing angry and with a point to prove. And when you get this push up front, Charles, and you see those holes open up like that, when tackles get to the 2nd level, Tom, untouched, there's going to be holes. And Chris Johnson shows his burst.
And they had a 2 tight end formation, both of them on the right side next to each other. I mean, look at that offensive front. It's a lot of red lining up on the line of scrimmage.
And you know what? They made changes there up front. They have 3 new starting offensive linemen from a group that, you know, ranked number 1 in the NFL in total offense last year, along with points per game. I mean, this was a high octane in every sense of those words offense. And yet you have a new starting center, a new right guard, and we talked about the right tackle, the number 1 pick 2 year last year in Humphreys.
And Humphreys redshirted last year, didn't play, remade his body, learned the system. Evan Mathis next to him, 69, won a Super Bowl last year with Denver, a 2-time Pro Bowler. And in the middle, A.Q. Shipley. A lot of people don't believe in him in the league. Bruce Arians does, been with him since Pittsburgh.
Johnson is into the end zone. Touchdown, Arizona. And that'll be a penalty flag on Johnson.
Juan Alexander gave him a whack.
So you're saying the flag occurred before the celebration there?
Interesting, because I would have thought it was with the helmet coming off, but unless it came off on the tackle.
I think it got knocked halfway off. Then he took it off.
The original foul for unsportsmanlike conduct on the play. The runner's helmet came off unintentionally. Ruling on the field is a touchdown.
It's a shot now. He took a shot, and I think it was Quan Alexander, number 58. Now watch the shot that he does. Great cut right here by Chris Johnson in the burst, but there's a great hit, and that helmet's knocked loose. And he might have broke his helmet.
Well, that was some kind of shot there.
And Chris Johnson says, I'll trade you that for the touchdown. Remember, he only got 1 carry in the season opener against New England. Last year had 4 different 100-yard games on the ground, kind of resurrected things for himself. But this season, off to a slow start, due in large part to David Johnson's emergence.
You stay on Arians playing 70 plays, then he's going to play.
He's going to get some plays.
Point after to make it an even 40. That looked like another problem handling. I don't know if it was a snap or just a drop snap. Look at this collision. Had his helmet right on helmet. Wow. Johnson quite fortunate he got up.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Corona Extra, who invites you to find your beach. And by Hyundai, an official sponsor of the NFL.
Well, we still have some football left to play. 12 minutes, 11 seconds to play in the fourth quarter. And Jameis Winston, after the great Week 1 performance, has watched his team struggle today. Well, the Cardinals have been doing that to teams regularly here about the last 4 years. They had more blowout wins than any team in the NFL last season. You know, much has been made about Jameis Winston, and he arrived at the Pro Bowl last season. He looked around at some of the other, he called them professionals, and said, man, I need to get to work on my body a little bit. And my, oh my, how times have changed. Look at that.
It was interesting when we talked to him, Chris, about what really precipitated, and he said the Pro Bowl, right? Going to Pro Bowl and being around him, what Tom had talked about, and seeing those guys and said, oh my goodness. And boy, he's done a terrific job.
The one thing, you don't want to get too lean. You need natural body protection as an NFL quarterback. And I'd be cautioned against that getting too light.
He just threw a big time block right there. Didn't lead to many yards, but Jan, look at this all of a sudden. It looks like Cooper wants a piece of Jameis Winston. I don't know what Winston's holding in his hand there.
It's his necklace.
So watch him here. He's gonna hand the ball off, and he carries out his fake, but the play comes back to him. And look at the block he lays on Marcus Cooper, which is not something they have not seen before. Chris, you saw that. You saw him do it in college, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely, against Syracuse.
And Marcus Cooper, none too happy with the quarterback taking him out. He took offense to that. Clean block, though.
Strike in there to Vincent Jackson, a first down up to the 35.
Let me go back to one thing, though, because we talked about, and there's the necklace of Jameis Winston that he'll get back after the game, but we talked about the remaking of his body, and it's been reported multiple places. He lost 15 to 20 pounds. Chris, is that really true?
Last year he reported training camp at 231. This year he reported training camp at 231. So his body didn't change. And when you make a play like that, especially when you're down 40-7, that is what galvanizes his teammates, and that's why he's a leader.
We'll check in downstairs with more on Jameis Winston with Peter Schrager.
Hey guys, I spoke with Jason Light, the Tampa Bay general manager. He said it wasn't a pass that he fell in love with Jameis Winston. It was a block. It was a pitch play against Syracuse, like Chris just mentioned. And there was this guy streaking down the sideline. It was Jameis Winston, 40 yards upfield, blocking for his running back. Jason Light fell in love, said that's my guy.
And we saw him last year, Peter, against Atlanta on a running play where he ended up doing similar to what we just saw there, got involved and threw a block. In fact, he got so involved he knocked Doug Martin down throwing the block.
Well, they pitch it to Sims, got a good block, cuts it back to the inside and up to the 40. Closing it on 10 minutes to go. You know, look, like many of you, I love watching college football. And all I did was watch Jameis Winston and this incredible player during his time at Florida State. I mean, he was the best college football player in the country. While he was there as a redshirt freshman, led his team to the national championship. I heard the same news reports. I read the newspapers and all the, off-field issues coming out of Florida State, what he did or didn't do. I have no idea. And we're not going to sit here and act like I'm choosing up sides on that errant third down throw. All I can tell you is when we met him yesterday, and it was the first time I had a chance to meet him, I don't know how you don't walk away very impressed. This is a young man that is smart. He looks you in the eye. He's quick to smile, not afraid to laugh, but make no mistake. He wants to be not good. He wants to be one of the best.
Like all young men, he's made mistakes. We've all made mistakes. He's matured, and you hit it, Tom. He wants to win, and every guy within that organization will tell you that he's the dude, the dog, he's the leader. So Tampa put their whole franchise on his shoulders, and he does have the ability to do it.
Here, though, Mike Evans may have been shaken up on that last play. That's the last thing in the world the Buccaneers can use now. is another injury. They've already had Martin leave this game. Such a huge weapon in their offense, and basically didn't even get to play. That one through the end zone. 40-7, Cardinals.
Today's game is sponsored by Xbox One, the ultimate games and 4K entertainment system.
Well, the NFL celebrating Hispanic culture and tradition during Hispanic Heritage Month. This season, the NFL and Hispanic Heritage Foundation partnering to support the Hispanic Heritage Leadership Awards, and the winner in Arizona, State Rep Tony Rivero.
They were out there halftime, doing it up for the crowd here.
Yes, they were. Drew Stanton and his 10th year out of Michigan State. They remember he was a guy in that 2014 season we were talking about a moment ago when Carson Palmer got hurt. And a real good day for Palmer today. 44th career 300-yard passing day, 3 touchdowns, not a single pick. But Stanton got 8 starts that year. He won 5 of them. And, you know, they felt they had a fighting chance in the postseason with Stanton. Once he went down, well, now you're going down to your 3rd-string quarterback, and you're going to have a hard time winning playoff games.
You remember at one point they were trying to start Logan Thomas and announced him as the starter. And then after a Tuesday or Wednesday practice, BA said, no, he's not starting. Ryan Lindley is.
Carson Palmer off to a great start this year. Nice statistically week last week, but when you have Fitzgerald and Floyd, 2 big targets, then guess what? Add Johnson in there. Brett,
Deron Brown is coming along. I think the difference today versus last week, as you mentioned, I think you pointed out the right word statistically, because they played from behind against New England, and you just never really got in sync in that game. This one, they were sharp right from the word go.
And you know what? Through all of that, you say that, and Charles, you're 100% correct. It's a great point. But, you know, you say all that, and more than likely with a good snap, and that's just based on the track record of Catanzaro, when all's said and done, they probably win that game.
Which in a lot of ways points to how talented this team is. Hung in there in a night that they didn't have their best stuff.
So I would stand up and make the argument that that wasn't a bad loss because they were hearing how great they were.
Right.
And you get smoked and humbled at home, and you come out and you get this performance on offense and this performance on defense. That was healthy for them since they're winning today.
Your dad was a coach. At this point, he'd walk in and say, why do you have to do that to get this performance? Just do it the right way each time.
Human nature.
It is human nature.
Penalty flag down. Alex Okafor playing injured this season again. He's playing with a torn bicep and decided to forego surgery and go ahead and play.
And tore it against San Diego in the 3rd preseason
During the
game.
return, illegal block in the back. Number 21 of the return team. A 10-yard penalty is assessed from the spot of the foul. Tampa Bay's ball. First down.
So Werner the penalty. We're back in a moment. It's nice to see that Mr. Spielman's tickets were picked up today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
You know whose ticket should be done and out of the game is Jameis Winston. Get him out. He's too valuable to your team to take any unnecessary shots. Look like this.
And he gets rid of that one and then wrapped up at the end there, taken down by Tony Jefferson on a first down throw. That's if to reinforce what you were just talking about. Hey, tomorrow Gotham is back. New episodes, new faces, madness and monsters rule the streets as heroes and villains clash for control of the big city. A new season of Gotham begins tomorrow right here on Fox.
Sure, at some point, Jameis and the offensive Tampa felt like they were in Gotham, trying to move the ball a few times, right? Hard to move it through these guys. They had kind of a tough day. So you saying take him out? I'll talk to you about that after this snap.
First down on a catch by Evans up to the 33. We'll get back to that in 1 second. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee in L.A.
Well, maybe we'll start calling him Riverboat Del Rio. Jack Del Rio going for it on 4th down. Derek Carter. Michael Crabtree. Game's all tied at 21 against the Falcons. Tom, Charles, and Chris, and Peter.
Got to tell you, fellas, that was the gutsiest call I've seen in the NFL in a long, long time last week, going for the win.
Yeah, you're on the road. I love it.
And you don't give Drew Brees another shot.
You got a 2-point play you trust.
And you trust your team.
All right, so you guys are starting to talk. Chris, you made the point. Yep. If you were right now Dirk Cutter, you get this guy out of the game.
And I think it's a legitimate point, frankly. But I'm gonna throw this at you. With the kind of day he's had, do you think Dirk Cutter's thinking, can I get him any type of good timing, any type of good plays before we get out of here?
No, because you haven't gotten it in 3.5 quarters, so you're not going to get it. So get him out. He's not a rookie, right? He's your franchise.
He's taking all your snaps.
And he's taking shots. He took a shot with somebody around his knees and ankles.
Yep.
See, I'm totally with Chris on it. I'm just trying to play a little devil's advocate. See where Dirk Cutter might be going with this. But you don't want anything to happen to that young man.
Well, he just got thrown to the deck again. This time by Marcus Golden off the edge. Incomplete. 3rd down coming up. So 2 of the 3 plays on this drive, Winston has been taken down.
See Evans working here.
Brandon Williams
back in the game, getting some run. The ball was well thrown. Yep. That looks like a well thrown football. And this is what you're talking about, Chris. More shots that he's taken. And I wonder if there's some element of Dirk Cutter right now looking at his team and saying, guys, we've got to get something before we get out of here. I want to feel good before we go. Show me what you've got.
And Jameis is shoved to the deck for a 3rd time.
3
this
plays.
Time by Tyvon Branch.
Guys, 3 plays, 3 times he gets hit.
So, there's games in the NFL where you just don't have it.
Right.
You just don't have it. They don't have it today. So you got 14 more games. Get him out. Look, I played in games when the 49ers beat us by 55-10. My dad came in the locker room after the game. Thank God he took Steve Young out of there, son. They would have put 100 up on your rear. So, in other words, we didn't have it. And I didn't have it. Young and Rice and Taylor had it.
All right, so you're saying your dad's a real comforting, nurturing type?
I love it.
Yeah, I get that.
Truth teller.
That's a great one.
Fair catch by John Brown inside the 20. We have 7:35 remaining. Check in downstairs with Peter Schrager, Mr. NFL, morning, noon, and night.
Hey, Tom, look, they always say the NFL is a small world. It's really a small world with these 2 general managers. Back in 1996, Jason Light was a quality control coach for Jimmy Johnson's Miami Dolphins. Steve Keim was an undrafted rookie free agent. Jimmy Johnson told Mr. Light, hey, tap that kid on the shoulder, tell him to bring his playbook and bring it up to me. It was Jason Light who told Steve Keim, you got to go talk to coach. You're getting released.
Hold a second. Jason Light was the Turk for Steve Keim, Strakes?
Jason Light was the Turk. He had that unfortunate job. Hey, years later, they ended up working together here in Arizona. Small world, guys.
How about that?
I think we ought to start referring to Peter as the ubiquitous Peter Schrager. Because if you follow the NFL, he's everywhere.
Man's got some info now.
Morning, noon, and night.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready, good Lord willing, to be a father for the first time. And Charles, you were quick to hand out all the pertinent fatherly-like advice to Peter on dinner Friday night.
I got to tell you, I'm in that stage now where our last one went to college.
Right.
And
empty nester now.
And it's still fresh. And all of a sudden, I'm Mr. Nostalgic. All of a sudden, I'm remembering the things I should have done and didn't do and wish I had done. And so, yeah, I'm dispensing it, even though it might not be the right stuff.
Oh, no. I think you have it all right to a T. You know, you look at this Cardinal team, fellas, and look, the way they played last year, they had 13 wins. Normally, that's good enough for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. It was not, with the Panthers having lost just 1 game. But, you know, they had 22 different players that scored points for them. 19 of the 22 are back. They had 13 players score touchdowns for them last year. 12 of the 13 are back. They have a defense that most people think has a chance to be better this year than the top 5 defense from last year. So, I mean, all the pieces are in place, despite what happened last Sunday night in the season opening loss, of putting together another great year and making another run.
Well, one guy that has to stay healthy, and he's playing tough today, was Evan Mathis, as you saw him limp. And it's a pro's pro right there, and a man's man.
Came in with a sprained arch. Look at his left foot. See the extra wrap around it as he comes? He has sprained arch, missed part of the New England game. Earl Watford filled in for him, but they were excited that he was going to play in this one because they needed him to help block Gerald McCoy.
And so a guy that's been around that long and that consistent, hey, we'll see you on Friday.
Yeah, well, just get yourself ready, get in the training room. But Tom, to your point, they sounded like a college team that's returning almost all of their starters and 65 lettermen is in addition.
Sure.
That's the team that they've assembled for this year. They're wanting to make that run. They're taking dead aim at being one of those teams.
Oh, goodness. Who delivered that hit? Was that David or was that Alexander?
Both of them are in there, and get used to that if you're a Tampa Bay fan, because the defense is designed by Mike Smith for those two guys to make the majority of the tackles.
See, these guys up front, they're supposed to keep people up. Look at David, slipped the block, but it wasn't even him. Who was that who came from the inside? Quan Alexander flashes, and look at that. That speed, when you watch those two, when they're in a good ball game and the defensive line, as Chris described, keeps them clean, and they just flash to the ball, they get there sudden, and they get there with impact.
We're talking about this Cardinal team, and you look up on the board, and there's only 1:50 left in the game. It took you nothing short of a miracle for Seattle to get a touchdown to win last week. They have 3 points in the game. Now, their defense has only given up 9 so far today in LA. And Seattle has the ball under 2 minutes to go, but 3 points?
That, to me, that's a Marshawn Lynch factor, and I don't know how healthy Russell Wilson is. Now, he's the offense.
I think he gutted it out today. I don't think that, I don't think he's anywhere close to being who he is.
And we know they have not, one thing they have, I don't know if I'd call it going against the grain or not, but they have just absolutely said we are not going to spend money on offensive linemen.
Tom Cable's
last year caught up with them. Tom Cable can't turn, the proverbial what to what, right? I mean, Sweezy they let go. Now, you can make an argument he wasn't a great player, and Tampa Bay brought him in, and he'll be back sooner rather than later, they hope.
Yep, Okun's gone.
Right.
But here's one other thing we got to take into account. The Rams, 7-9, 8-8, right? Who do they play tough every year?
Right.
They swept Seattle last year.
That's right.
It's just there's something about them and that matchup that messes things up.
All right, let's take a game break and check in once more back in Los Angeles.
Sometimes it's good to be lucky. Look at this. Follow the bouncing ball. Justin Hardy grabs it out of the air. Second-year guy of East Carolina. First NFL touchdown. Puts the Falcons up by 7 on the road at Oakland in the 4th quarter. Tom, Charles, Chris, and Peter.
Kurt, you're exactly right. We had a pretty good tip drill here in our game where we had a double tip. Josh Morrow tipped it in the air. It tipped off at Charles Sims of the Buccaneers, and Marcus Cooper took it all the way back for 6. So those tip drills showing up all over the league today.
Jameis Winston still in there, and that's a nice throw right there to Jackson, a first down. Penalty marker is down on the far side of the field.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 27. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Take a look at Arizona's schedule upcoming. They play a desperate team in their own right in Buffalo on the road next week. We'll get back to that here in a second. Our group will be back here in Glendale 2 weeks when the Rams come to town. They go to San Francisco, Jets, Seattle will be a big one. So, I mean, certainly not a killer sort of schedule, I wouldn't call it.
Notice it says 7th toughest strength of schedule.
That's tough to finish.
All the way through, but you're talking about that stretch right there.
Right.
If they can stay healthy, they've got to feel like they can manage that one fairly well. Now, you notice, I know Jameis is still in there, Chris, and you talked about it, and you were emphatic about the whole thing. We did a game last year, Cardinals at Bears, week 2. And Carson Palmer played the entire way in a game they had under control. We asked Bruce Arians about it. He looked at us like we had a third eye in the middle of our head. He's like, what are you talking about? This is what we do, and, that's what pros play. Dirk Cutter has some similarities like that in terms of how he looks at things.
Where's Carson Palmer now?
Today he's out.
So he trusted the third eye. He trusted the third eye.
At that time, though, I remember we went to him. Remember, we had him the very next week. VA.
That's right.
And he looked at us like, were you even asking that question?
That's right. And that one was every bit as ugly as this one is at 40-7.
Chandler Jones, 55, the big free agent pickup. Or no, excuse me, trade. Watch Chandler here is able to finish. And again, you're taking unnecessary shots that mean absolutely nothing. And all the Cardinals, the pass rushers are in there because they understand it's money time for them.
You notice they're not tapping out.
No.
Chandler Jones is a starter. He could be over there with his helmet off. He's like, I got this, coach.
Yeah,
I got this. This is pass rush.
He sacks.
Fair catch called for at the 15-yard line. 2:57 to play. Another nice day for the veteran Larry Fitzgerald. He had the 2 touchdown receptions to get to 100 in his career in week 1. 6 catches, 81 receptions, including a touchdown here today. Why not keep playing, right?
What I love about him, guys, is you never see him rarely body catch. Everything is with hands. Even when that ball's close to his body, every catch he makes is with his hands. That's why he's one of the greatest.
And he also works so hard to be those names on that list. Jerry Rice, Marvin Harrison, Chris Carter, all in the Hall of Fame. He wants to be one of those guys. He picks their brains. He brings them out for workouts, right? He brings them to Minneapolis, St. Paul in the offseason. They watch tape. He goes over things, always looking for that edge, always looking for a way to improve. And when Bruce Arians got here to Arizona, you remember when he moved him into the slot?
Right.
That took some soul searching for Larry Fitzgerald. Because what? You want to do what? And it actually revived his career when he fully embraced it. He's gone off last year over 100 catches on the season, over 1,000 yards. He blocks, as Chris pointed out during the game. He does it all, a true pro.
You know, if he keeps going this year like he did last year, and I don't mean 100 catches, I'm talking where, you know, maybe in the 80 to 85 range, by the end of this year, along with those receiving yards, in the history of the National Football League, he should crack the top 3 in receptions and should move into the top 8 all-time in yards, and does not look to be slowing down. 2 minutes to go. All Arizona today.
Today's game is sponsored by Walmart. Save money. Live better.
So you guys talk about the football players all the time. I talk about the real men. Wyatt Earp and company down there in Tombstone, Arizona.
Riding high in the South. See?
Can you believe it?
Right?
No doubt.
And when you heard those hoof beats, it may not have been the apocalypse, but you might have wished it was when Wyatt and boys came to town.
Right. Well, I'm choosing Kurt Russell over Kevin Costner.
Are you? You got Kurt over Kevin?
Both of them are great.
Yep.
You going head-to-head? You going Kurt?
Yeah, Val Kilmer was outstanding.
Yes.
Doc Holliday.
That's right. Doc Holliday.
Yeah. Bucks have the Rams next week, which game I'll be attending.
And that's going to be interesting. The Rams look like they're going to finish off Seattle.
Yeah, we were just talking. Seattle had the ball down at the Rams 30-yard line with 1:50 left. And Kristen Michael fumbled the ball, just recovered by L.A. They're trying to win their home opener. Big punt return here by Humphries, run out of bounds. All right, let's talk about the Buccaneers. Now, Chris, you mentioned you're going to be with Dick Stockton next weekend. That'll be the Rams going to Tampa Bay. They'll have back-to-back home games. Then the defending Super Bowl champs come in. Now this is a tough stretch.
And it's, to me, I mean, this is what they need. You know how Arizona can learn off of last week's game. Same with Charles lives in the area. Hey, everybody loves the Buccaneers. Super Bowl.
They were
Jameis MVP. This is all good for them.
Fever was in full effect last week in that area. Well, guess what? This is probably, you mentioned how it was good for BA and his team. Yeah. Just what you're saying here, it'd be good for Dirk Cutter and his staff. Tamp it down a little bit for them. That'd be a nice matchup with them in Los Angeles next week. Los Angeles' defense. James is having to navigate that. And I don't get very many right, guys, but I have to say it. Did I not? I told you at dinner.
You did.
There's one thing I was definite about. LA was going to play that one tough as nails. Home opener, first game back in LA. Seattle is a bad match for, it's a bad match for Seattle for whatever reason, and they did it to them.
You get a lot right.
No, that's one I'm hanging on to, and I'm not making another prediction.
Here's something to watch Doug Martin and his health, because he's a major player in this offense.
Oh, you're right about that. Winston. Incomplete on a 2nd and 4.
I will tell you this. I like how Jameis Winston is handling all this. He's taking a lot of hits. He's still coaching up his teammates. You notice he's not getting up and jawing with defenders. He's not looking at the official like, hey, they hit me again. There's none of that. This kid is getting himself off the deck and continuing to play this game. To me, that speaks volume. You remember you talked about, Chris, throwing a block galvanizes the team.
Yep.
He's not in the huddle saying, give me more time, not whining at his guys, just trying to play the game. I got to give him credit for that.
You talk to guys within the organization, he's the guy. He's the one. And he does it by his actions.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
We talk so much about this dynamic duo linebacking core of Alexander and David. How about that first time in 56 straight?
Is that real? Levante David, no tackles?
A lot of times that gets readjusted after film.
That doesn't even sound right, though, does it?
Now that is from the official stats folks that tally up the league stats as Winston is sacked by Chandler Jones.
But Chris is right. When the coaches review it, they will come back, and there might be a tackle or two on the board. Those are the stats that get adjusted, and those are the ones that end up final for their team.
Is he limping? Did it look like he was limping a little bit?
Looked like he did.
See Michael Bidwell, the owner down there, the team president, talking with head coach Bruce Arians, enjoying their first victory of the season.
I don't know if he's got a little limp going or not.
We're about to find out. He's going to sling it around with 11 seconds left to go. He's going to make one more throw. Being chased, running pretty well right here. He's just going to heave it to the end zone for Evans down there. And that pretty much caps off a really rough day for Jameis Winston. DJ Swearinger with the interception. And that's the way this one comes to an end. The Cardinals bounce back after an opening week loss to New England with a thumping of Tampa Bay. 40-7 the final. Big day for Carson Palmer. He throws 3 touchdowns, over 300 yards. 40-7 our final. We'll be back with more in a moment.